Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 247. It's Friday night, April 11th. We will release this into the world on Saturday, April 12th. It's myself, my co-host, and teenage son, Jack, across the table.
Hola.
Hola, he says. And we're going to talk about another week of professional wrestling, including a review of AEW Dynasty. We'll talk about AEW Dynamite. We'll talk about some Raw. We'll talk about some NXT. We'll talk about some news. We'll do some trivia, all after we talk about whatever we want in this first segment. Timestamps available.
As always.
Find things you like, avoid things you don't. Not that, every minute of every segment
is worth it.
Gold.
All
Pure
of it's gold.
Gold.
Liquid gold.
So I was telling you because I started this podcast with zero audio knowledge. I just think I found something that, like the ease, because our volume level on YouTube is consistently just a bit lower than everybody else's, and it annoys me. And I thought I was doing things correctly, and then I just quickly looked up something and went, "Oh, there's a really easy, like it's literally a thing," and I just drag it to the right, and everything gets louder. So I learned something today. I think we mentioned your university. Did we talk about that you've accepted where you're actually going?
No.
I know we had narrowed it down.
I think it was the day after.
So you chose your program.
Yeah, we did that, yeah.
You chose your school.
And then I think we're still figuring out residence.
And I also heard that you got accepted early. Marks are good. Already guaranteeing you a floor for scholarship money.
Yeah, I think so.
With only room to go upward.
Yeah.
So that is pretty cool as well.
Indeed.
Congratulations on that.
It's totally sick.
Exciting. Hey, man. Saving a whole bunch of money is pretty sick.
It's like a lot of free lightsabers because you can take the money that you want to spend on school and you're going to get me a lightsaber.
So that's how you think of money. Every dollar sign you hear, you think of the number of lightsabers.
Yeah.
Like, what was the main roster minimum salary? $350?
Yeah.
So what does that convert
so many lightsabers.
to lightsabers?
Depends on how fancy you go.
I guess it would.
And if I'm importing from the U.S.
Yeah. Still coughing a bit. Not sick, though, right?
It's that dry cough that I just can't get rid of.
It's that duty that'll get you.
Yeah.
When you bring it in from
No, I know that's what's stopping me from my last one. But maybe for grad I'll do it because there's the one I really want. The guy from the Acolyte.
Yeah. When
he had like the saber and it splits with it poops out the baby one.
Yeah.
I want that. And it's like,
of course you do. For
me too, if I'm getting all these lightsabers, it's like might as well have a different one each time. Like, because I got the first one where it's just basically it's a single one. Then I got the super fancy NeoPixel one with all the lightsaber effects. Then I got into the basic one, but it's a double, so it's different. And this one would have a baby one, so it's like
so great.
At least it's like I'm diversifying the portfolio, though. You know what I mean?
That's one way of saying a thing.
Like if I'm getting them, at least each one has a thing.
I think that's what they call a euphemism.
Each one does a thing, though. You know what I mean? Like they have a. It's not like I'm just getting a
duplicate. They all have their own functionality.
They all have their own unique thingy.
Well, that's great,
right? So that's nice. And then I guess recently I got a few figures when we went up to Ancaster.
Oh yeah, we went on that family lunch, 5-course, including the cake.
Yeah.
5-course Italian lunch, good. Lots. I actually ate almost everything. I was nervous. The portions were reasonable. I think
God. I did pretty well, yeah.
You did too.
Until the last course with the chicken parm, but
it was a lot. Chicken parm on top of mashed potatoes and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot for sure.
But good.
There happened to be a Walmart right there there is.
So we sometimes we'll just check random ones we've never been to.
Got a monster truck because that's how I do.
The retro the
retro one.
Was that the first stuff you really collected a lot of since you're
100%.
A collector of things?
It was the first thing.
No, it wasn't.
Thomas
the Train.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. I was there for all that.
Speaking of which, you should watch Bullet Train because I watched that with my friend the other day.
Because you tried to go see what and couldn't?
Minecraft movie and it was sold out.
Were you going to be one of those?
You should see the clips of the people freaking out in the theaters.
I was just going to say.
It's so funny.
You're going to be one of those guys that takes in a live chicken and throws popcorn everywhere?
Oh, my friend just showed me today the video of the guy with the live chicken and I was just like, oh, it's so funny.
I feel bad for everyone having to clean up after that.
I think it's lame that the cops come in or like they shut it down because I do feel bad for them cleaning it.
But
like
your generation?
It looks so fun. But yeah, we just went back to this and then we were watching Bullet Train. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think it was like either they're assassins or gangsters. I think they're
spoilers.
Assassins.
Just kidding. This movie's old.
I don't think it's out in 2022, so it's not super old. But like basically, it's a bunch of assassins get on the same train.
Yeah.
And they don't know it, but like somehow
Is there a
everything is
bullet?
intertwined. It's like it is a bullet train.
Whoa.
Like, like those sleek ones. Anyway,
Yeah.
and it's Brad Pitt. It's really cool though. I think you'd like it. But I mentioned it
I trust you.
because the one guy uses Thomas as like an analogy for everything. It's kind of funny. He's
Which
calling
you got
like
all the
the
references.
big bad. He's like calling them the Diesel.
I was just gonna say Diesel 10 was your
Greatest fear.
greatest fear. That was one of your first fears unlocked.
Now it's adult braces.
There's always got to be something.
But yeah, no, that movie, that's a really cool movie.
So
It's
our
on
figures
Netflix,
you
so I
got
think you should
here
watch it.
is on the table if you're watching in video format.
So I found Tyler Bate, which is cool because I don't have him.
represented here.
So I got Tyler Bate, and then I just put my Pete Dunne with him because new catch sucky.
And I did a funny joke, and I said this is more realistic.
And then it's Pete Dunne lying down
Because he gets pinned all the time by everyone ever,
Pete pin.
even though he's amazing.
Yeah. And then I got Rollins from the Mania Wave in the pink, which is from the match with Logan Paul, so I put him there. And then at our Keswick Walmart, we had Greatest Hits, which is like the re-release wave. So I got a new Shield Seth Rollins, even though I already have two different ones.
Nice.
Because I have OG Shield Seth Rollins from that Shield 3-pack you guys got me one year. And then I got 2018 Shield Rollins.
Yeah.
And then this is like... So it's weird because that's the re-release wave, right? So usually those are supposed to be... The Greatest Hits is supposed to be like, you're re-releasing sought-after figures, and usually it's as is, but they'll like have the updated tooling and maybe a bit of touch-up on the head scan. But like sometimes they switch a head scan or switch an attire, so it's not really a re-release, but it still is. This one, it's like... It's a re-release of I think it's First Elite, but then with a modern head, and so it's kind of interesting because since it's a modern Rollins head, it's basically like Rollins from the Roman match we really liked,
Right.
where he did the whole Shield entrance, and so it's
What did we
basically
love
like a
about
Rollins
that?
from
Was
that.
the finish cool or
That was the DQ finish where Roman locked him in the guillotine, and he got a rope break, and Roman didn't break it.
Right.
And we thought it was like, oh, technically Roman still didn't beat him, and they could have done something with it.
We liked
and then,
it. I know.
I remember that was a couple weeks ago I talked about it because Roman had COVID, and so Brock won the title, and there's holding in the Rumble. And then Seth was supposed to win the title, yada yada,
yada yada,
unification match,
right,
and etc. Yeah, it's interesting. They have like this new ankle rocker on these now. It's weird.
So you put the Logan Paul one closest to me. Did not go unnoticed.
Yeah, there's another Logan Paul at Walmart, which I was telling you I'm considering getting.
Gross.
Because I was telling you I like when I have two figures that match, like them, like they're both attires are from said match. Like I remember I got that. Remember the one Seth Rollins, the neon green.
Yeah.
And then
every Seth Rollins you have.
There's a couple I need to get though. I know which ones I'm missing.
Is a very strong word.
I know which ones I'm missing is the funny part.
I believe you.
But anyways, I have that neon green Seth Rollins, and then the figure to match him from that match is that Finn Balor I always really want. Remember the SummerSlam Balor, and I was just waiting to get that the white whale, and now it's that Darby Allin, but it was the SummerSlam 2016 Balor, and so yeah, like I love having the figures when the attires match, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that Logan Paul would match my Ricochet, that I have, so I'm considering getting it.
Of course, good thing you have a job.
Yep.
Okay, so banter I think's good. I don't have anything else to add unless you do.
I forgot. Okay, I will mention it quick. I forgot to bring down those slap bands.
Oh yeah,
because they have these blind bags that they're selling at Walmart where it's like
blind bag. That's
slap bands that are championship belts. Yeah. It's cool. I got both versions of the tag belts currently in the North American, which is at least there's no ugly ones yet.
I feel like blind bags is a new term for an old thing. I like it.
Well, that's what I feel like the term's been around.
But
forever.
I think those types of things existed like when I was a kid, but we didn't call them that.
Really?
I don't think so.
That feels like a
maybe
no-brainer.
Like the collector people did. I don't know.
It feels like a no-brainer.
It does. That's
sometimes
why I said, so I like it.
Get bad luck with this. One time, me and Hudson bought it was like years ago, but at Walmart we got these not blind bags, but like a mystery thingy. It's like this little. It was a little plastic crate, and they were called junk bots. They're like little robe action figures made of junk, and worst $7 I've ever spent in my entire life because like we couldn't even figure out how to fully put them together. Like we were sitting in McDonald's trying to put them together, and I hated it. Like we always bring it up. The junk bots it's one of the worst purchases I've ever made.
Is it worth $7 to have that story to tell for the rest of your life?
That's arguable, honestly, because
it may be good value.
I rue the day I ever bought a junk bot.
Exactly.
But I also always bring it up.
And maybe that
slap
story
bands can't be worse than that.
Just got us like 1,000 new listeners / viewers.
People know that the junk bot lord.
It's relatable.
The junk bot stands are gonna come for me in the comments.
Very relatable. Yeah. Yes, that's right. The backlash of the whatever that is.
The 5 of them.
So let's talk wrestling. First segment, some news and rumors. Not sure anyone cares, but it's a habit now, so I'm going to keep doing it. Ratings. I wonder if there's anyone that's like, yes, the ratings, here we go. Because I think if you care to hear about the ratings, you might have already looked it up.
Yeah, I feel like you're not going to a podcast to hear about ratings.
I listened. Well, you're gonna get them. Maybe I'll stop. I'll try and stop. It'll be hard. I'll try and stop next week.
No,
Okay?
you're not.
No ratings.
No, you're not.
Last ratings ever. 683,000.
It's like half your thing.
Because it makes me curious.
Yeah, see, it's
And
as
it does
much for
give me
you.
news every week.
I'd say it's as much for you as it is for anyone else, but I'd actually argue it's more for you than anyone else.
What if we move it around in the news and it's always news, but not always?
You just
first?
like you could put ratings last,
Right?
Just to throw people off, or it's like we're bannering and like, oh, here's the hey, did you see the ratings this week? Or Highspots and Restholds, here's the high rating, here's the low rating.
Exactly.
Put it all over the place.
Everywhere. 683,000, up 5.1, and a 0.17 in the key demographic, up 13.3. Third lowest audience of 2025. I think part of it too is with all the streaming stuff. I don't even know if this means anything. Dynamite 659, up 10.9, earned a 1.7, up 6.3. Second largest audience for the show since January 15th. Hooray, 3 months. Well done. Your turn.
Okay. Chris Jericho is reportedly finished
Stop.
with ROH.
That was mean.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's a start, I guess. Although
I'd actually rather him be with ROH.
I was just gonna say
like,
him being with ROH was kind of.
it's actually better.
But he's still on Dynamite every week.
See, here's the thing: him as ROH champion, he just takes the bell away from ROH. So
yes, okay. So
as if they even put it there much, I don't actually know what they do on there.
I'm not sure why ROH exists, but anyways, good for Bandito and Athena. They got like cool people. And, like that's a good example, I guess. I love both of those people, and there's zero chance I'm going to check it out. Right?
Yeah.
So who's watching it?
I feel like a lot of people probably have bought the subscription service.
Because I think that's the only way to see it now.
It is.
Right.
But I think it's because ROH is such a great back catalog. Like, I feel like that would almost be worth it for us to buy alone just because there's so much great stuff on there. But I think
Are they watching that? Or do you just...
I think that's all you'd be watching.
No, but sorry. You're right. I mean, so you're not watching the show, you're watching the back catalog.
I would say that's more so what
Right.
it's for. And then, like, maybe you're watching
I agree.
the weekly stuff because you have nothing better to do. But I'd say the back catalog is really the only selling point.
For me and you, for sure.
And even then, it's hardly a selling point because I was never an ROH guy.
But there's some great stuff back there.
There is, 100%.
Yeah. To me, Pac, it'll come up on our show. When we review Dynamite later.
I clicked on a news that wasn't news about him. It was just like, oh, he's going to undergo a scan or something.
MRI, right? Because he injured. I'm nervous because
I'm very scared, yes.
he was grabbing the area of his Achilles, which I have ruptured, and it's not cool or fun.
Right before my birthday.
Or fun short road back. So I really didn't like where he was grabbing the back of his.
And to me, it was just like he couldn't get back into it. And I think that he was even supposed to interfere in the main event. I don't think it was supposed to be Moxley. Because I think it was a weird spot for Moxley to just like come in because he doesn't usually do
True.
that.
Yeah, he didn't look good, and he did what he could, but he couldn't even put weight on it. So.
No, that was a scary part for me.
Yeah, so hopefully he's okay. He seems to have some injury unluckiness as well.
Yeah.
So too bad for him because we love him here.
Mm-hmm. Speaking about injuries, obviously we know Jay White's out, but apparently his injury caused major creative shifts ahead of Dynasty, and heel turn was rumored, so maybe he would have been part of the main event. I think.
Interesting. So they're saying a heel turn for him?
That's what was rumored, yeah. And
that would make you happy.
I'm still bummed he's out for a decent bit, but like I like this because it's nice to hear that he was factored into important things. Like if they had to change around a lot of stuff because he was out,
right.
that means he was supposed to be important. And obviously that means it's still going to be a while. But I'm hoping that bodes well for his comeback. Like clearly they were recognizing he is someone worth using in a major capacity.
For sure he is.
So I like that because that just feels good, at least for how they view him. Because I love Jay White. I think he's awesome. We're big fans of him over here, so
we are. I hope he's speedy recovery to both of those guys. Honestly,
broken hand, right? So at least hopefully that's a little better than
I think so.
Pac and also
if
Cassidy.
It's an Achilles, I haven't looked it up today.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
At least it's not a torn Pac.
Yep. From the news that's not news, I think Charlotte Flair has heat over treatment of younger stars.
Apparently, she's doing like the Cena Orton thing.
Quote: one of the people in it says, Charlotte is trying to rattle young talent in the way Cena used to and Randy used to. But the problem is Charlotte has effed this whole program because she can't adjust like they could. She's trying to embarrass Tiffany. So did we talk about that segment?
And then she got hosed, yeah. No, I don't think we did.
It was Like
It just went
Charlotte
off the
was
rails.
rattled by the
Well,
crowd.
Yeah, because they didn't want it.
But she didn't find a way to. I feel like people who are really talented in that spot will find a way to still say what they're supposed to say.
And apparently she
couldn't.
wasn't planned to be the heel in this feud originally, right? So.
Right, but because I don't think Tiffany Stratton's an amazing baby face either.
I just think she's kind of likable and is more so.
Charlotte's impossible.
Yeah, more so when it's up against Charlotte.
So that whole thing was really interesting to watch.
And then there's obviously the real life comments, and then I think it was also because there was the perception of the week before that whole thing when they had those on screen face to face.
Charlotte destroyed her.
That Charlotte was like trying to steamroller and make her look bad.
And then here Stratton just had
Stratton trying to fire back, and ad lib, I guess, when the crowd was.
Yeah, because if you're supposed to have a dialogue and it becomes a monologue, you've got to shift gears, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think she's had a ton of practice with that.
Yeah.
But Charlotte couldn't speak or wouldn't speak or couldn't figure out a way to deal with the crowd. And then her parting shot of like, why is Kaiser in my DMs was dumb.
I saw people posting about how it's like the one time a man has been accused of cheating and no one
saw
believes
that
it.
everywhere too. Yeah, and like first of all, I don't know how many people know. Like I would say who she's referring to, but there's only so many Kaisers. But I don't know how many of the average.
I feel like it's decently known, but I don't know for
I
certain.
feel like that's in the nerdy sector like us, which is not in the majority.
Yeah.
I don't think. Anyways, I only have two other things.
Kevin Knight apparently is much like Takeshita on a dual deal with New Japan AEW, so he's still going to be over there. I feel like he's and he's not a guy I feel like they're going to focus on in AEW a ton.
No,
like I feel like he'll get some TV appearances, but
quite a performance recently.
Yeah, with Takeshita, I feel like it's a little more interesting because I feel like Takeshita is someone they're using more.
He is.
So
he's definitely ready for a main event spot more than not that Knight's not cool. He's very cool.
Knight's cool, but yeah.
But yeah, my last two are sort of together. It's about who Orton will face now because Kevin Owens is out. I don't know if we talked about that.
Yeah.
Probably did. But yeah, Owens is out. Next stuff. So have you heard who it could be? And this is like betting odds.
Aldis?
Yeah. So
I remember seeing something else, but I don't remember.
Which I don't watch SmackDown, so I was like, why? But I guess he RKO'd him a couple times.
Yeah.
And Aldis has not wrestled for WWE yet, right?
No.
So that would be his debut. So I'll say he's fine. He's better than fine, but he's not like amazing.
Yeah.
So he was it was the package, right? The whole is better than, I don't know if that makes sense in this case. But anyways, like it was the presence, the ability to talk. And
also being in the NWA where everyone sucks.
Like LA Knight-ish?
Yeah.
In a sense.
I mean, Magnus.
Right. Hey man, I was into TNA back then.
Okay, then next apparently is why the Undisputed Kingdom changed their name, which we will talk about again as well.
Tell me.
Kingdom part was axed because Taven and Bennett weren't originally planned.
Yes.
Right. To be in the group.
That is a win, ladies and gentlemen.
And if they went by Undisputed, I think the belief was they might get sued.
I could see that.
Yeah. And apparently, I don't remember this, but O'Reilly.
That's so good. I said that to you. I said the Kingdom are out.
Yeah. O'Reilly used the term Paragon in a promo back in 2022, referring to the group when it was him, Fish, and Cole. But they never had a name. They were just Undisputed Elite when they went with the Bucks, right?
Reminds me of the Paragon of Virtue. Is that Chip? Sorry?
Christopher Daniels.
Is that what that was?
I believe so. And Matt Taven has used the term Paragon before.
Gross.
As well.
Stop.
Apparently, the trademark for the Paragon was also filed back then, so it's like a long-running thing. I wrote this in my notes already, but I will not call them that. I think it's stupid.
I don't hate it already, and even when I do hate stuff, I eventually come around.
I probably will eventually cave, but to me, they're always going to be Undisputed something, and so the fact that they're not, it bothers me.
I haven't caved on Copeland yet.
I also have not. I think I've referred to him as Copeland a couple times, but not because that's his name, because it's like a short form.
Yeah.
But even then, I actually don't. I don't. It's weird.
The only other thing I had is Jim Ross's prediction for Orton.
Okay. I heard also, I think the other one I heard was Black.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Doesn't Orton win? And I don't think you want to. First of all, what we hear about Aleister Black, he's not going to want to lose, especially in his return match. But
I don't think it's him. I think he's a return after Mania.
I do too.
Him and Rusev.
Yeah.
On Rusev Day.
On different shows?
On different shows. I think one of them goes to one show. And
I feel like Black's coming to
SmackDown.
SmackDown, you think?
I think so. because I think that's where his vignettes have been.
Well, I won't see him along with Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre, who I miss.
And Randy Orton.
Nope.
And Cody Rhodes.
No.
And
Those
Solo
are-
Sikoa.
Those are all the bonuses to not watching.
And Naomi.
I saw a little
and
Solo
Michin.
Sikoa thing. He was bad.
And LA Knight. And Shinsuke Nakamura.
Michin.
I was looking at my best and worst of, and for my honorable mentions, I might have to give worst champion to Shinsuke Nakamura for doing absolutely nothing.
Loved him so much in peak New Japan.
Even in NXT, and now he just sucks so bad.
He was so cool.
They gave him that whole new character too, and he just still sucks so bad.
I feel like, was he one of the things like I made you watch, or was that too early?
I think so.
And I remember Demon Balor I made you check out too.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Okay. Then I was telling you about the Mania run times. Apparently, it's supposed to be 9 hours total.
Come on now.
Each night.
Come on now.
With a 3-hour pre-show.
Okay, so we're down to 6 because I'll watch 0 of that.
Yes, but like I'm saying, still a 9-hour run time is still insane. Even if it's like cumulative. 18 hours over 2 days. That's not even including Stand and Deliver, which is in the morning.
Insane.
On the Saturday, I think it's like at 9 a.m. or something. A 3-hour pre-show is absurd by any metric. In any circumstance, but even if they don't put, but especially if they don't put any matches, even if they did, it's crazy. But like I've heard the Street Profits title defense against Machine Guns, which I think is what it is reportedly planned to main event the Go Home SmackDown, which I think is stupid because why wouldn't you put that on the main card? Because the other tag titles are making it on.
Yeah, that's right, they are.
But at least give them the pre-show then. We should have preliminary matches on the pre-shows again. I don't know why we stopped doing that. Like, especially with how many belts we have now, I think we should be doing that. Like, how do the women's tag titles get on the main show? And
you might get me to watch the pre-show.
Exactly. We have 2 3-hour pre-shows. That's 6 hours of content, and there's not going to be any wrestling. There's no way.
That's torture.
There's no way, right? Book the Profits and book both women's mid-card belts on there. Like, Lyra should have a match, Chelsea should have a match, the Prophet should have a match, and you could throw in one more. Like, I think 2 matches in 3 hours is still not great, but at least that's, like, passable.
How many lightsabers for you to watch all 6 hours of pre-show?
6.
6 sabers? One per hour?
Yeah, I'll take 1 per hour.
Okay.
Their post-show media things, I think, are also part of this time, maybe.
Awesome.
And they're a waste of time, because they're like a kayfabe version of the AEW media scrum.
Yes.
And it's just not anything interesting. Even the AEW ones aren't the most interesting sometimes.
They're not.
Then the full Mania card for both nights we also have seen, so I'm gonna do that. For
go.
night 1,
get me thinking about all my picks. I mean, I'm sure I know a bunch of matches.
our main event is Punk, Rollins, Roman.
Right. I do have thoughts on that.
Yeah. Our
gonna do
main
it.
event is not Jey Uso
Correct.
and Gunther for the World Heavyweight title.
He's ready now, though.
Stratton and Flair for the women's title. I feel like I really hope it's not Charlotte.
My interest is
I'll
not
actually be mad. I don't care. I'll be mad if it's Charlotte. I'm really excited for Jacob Fatu and LA Knight just because I think that'll be Fatu's first title.
high. And
I'm excited for that.
he should decisively win. Like,
Probably
whoop
not.
him.
I think they like LA Knight.
They do, and it's fine, but it's not going to hurt him that much.
War Raiders versus New Day for the tag titles. So I think it's a rematch they just did on Raw.
They did.
Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano.
Yeah, that
crazy that
happened on
he just like gets a debut walk onto his first Mania that quick.
That's crazy,
Like,
right? Hardly any matches under his belt.
And they don't do a lot of luchador matches on the show, so like
Good for him. Groundbreaking.
I mean, I guess he's been working the Mexico circuit for so long, but like
putting the luchadors together.
yeah, I guess so. I just think it's crazy to like he's been here for. It's got to be the fastest debut to Mania because it's been like what, maybe a month or so.
Yeah,
he
I would say
debuted and
so.
came to Mania, and that was his first match in WWE.
He's
ever.
out Pentaing Penta.
He's out Penta. Yeah, because Penta, he's been here since January.
2 months or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
right. So
lame.
he's doing better than Penta, and he's there really quick.
Yep.
So I'm really happy for the newcomer there. You know.
Me too.
Then Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Yeah.
That's tough.
You didn't say yay.
No,
That's
I'm not. I'm not excited about that at all.
Then the night 2 main event is Cody and Cena, which
Hmm.
should be pretty interesting actually with Cena.
It'll be a spectacle, right?
Yeah. It'll be like some typical main roster fare. The women's world title match, which in ring standpoint could be good. The
Yes.
story, I'm not really there, but it's Io, Bullet, and Ripley. On paper, that's really
Match
great.
will be good, yeah.
Even the Intercontinental title match is pretty great on paper. Breaker, Penta, Balor, Dom. That's pretty sweet.
That could steal the weekend for me.
That could be pretty good. Randy Orton versus Blank. Could suck.
Yeah, could suck.
Priest McIntyre could be decent.
I
could
just don't.
probably suck.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
I I wanted more from McIntyre.
Me too. I think McIntyre wanted more from McIntyre too.
I was just so happy last year
was
when he
so
won the title.
Good for so long.
And I mean, I guess this is built kind of from last year's Mania when Priest cashed in, but like I was so happy for him when he won the title because I just want him to have his moment again.
Is his character still the same over there?
I think so.
Like he's just telling the truth?
It might be watered down, but I think it's generally the same. AJ Styles, Logan Paul, which actually could be really great.
Yeah, it could be. They'll work out. I hear that he scripts a lot of his stuff.
And AJ's had a good match at Mania with Shane McMahon
and if you
back
want
in the day. So
somebody to help you write out a match, AJ's probably a pretty good choice to do that.
Yeah, like I feel like that's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
From New England standpoint.
There'll be a couple huge spots for sure.
Yeah, and then it's Morgan and Raquel defending the women's tag titles against whoever wins the gauntlet, I think, tonight.
Natalia.
Yeah, one of the teams was Natalia and Maxie Dupree. We also had Meechin and BFAB, Lyra and Bailey, because why?
I didn't know that because kind of makes sense with the finish of their match.
It does not make sense for them to team.
Because I think they're teasing a Bailey turn.
But like, I mean, I guess anything to make her more interesting.
And then to have a title run or title feud or whatever.
Anything to make her more interesting.
I think kind of, yeah. I think that's where we're at.
She kind of blows.
She's just there.
Yeah.
And she can be cool.
So yeah, those will fill 6 hours. Like at least even for me, I like to have. I think it's 7 matches on both shows. So I guess that's decent.
We just watched 10 on the weekend.
Yeah.
Which is the segue, I guess.
I guess so.
Because that's what we're gonna talk about now. We're gonna do a quick review. So we'll do a little bit of over under accurate as well. If you access Cage Match. So we're gonna talk about the 10 matches that were Saturday ago, or was it Sunday?
It was Sunday.
It was Sunday. My mistake.
Because it was after our big extravaganza.
Oh, that's right. It is AEW Dynasty. Okay, so AEW Dynasty. Pretty anticlimactic of us doing our picks beforehand, and doing the certainty score because
it tied. I'm not even gonna bother looking at it because
ladies and gentlemen, we both picked every
sweep.
single match correctly.
To quote Stash Club, it's a sweep city there.
It is. So it doesn't matter what we chose.
I'm not even gonna bother looking back at it. Let's not even pretend like it's.
But can we just for a moment, like we picked 10 matches out of 10.
And I think it's...
And we were confident on pretty much every single one.
It's more so interesting for it being AEW because usually those are the ones where we screw up. Like for me, I remember it was Mania a couple years back.
Yeah.
And I picked everything.
Yes.
Except for Cody.
I love
which
that
is the
so
one
much.
I was... If we were doing certainty score,
yeah,
that's the one that would have bucked me.
Yeah, or whatever the number... Yeah, so... And I wasn't... What was the hardest one to pick, you think?
Oof.
I was confident in everything.
Probably like... I'd say Cole Garcia because we weren't up on that
I
much.
was pretty confident.
I was, but like, if I had to pick, if we're like splitting hairs here, you know what I mean? Okay, wait. Now, since we mentioned me, I'm kind of curious. For the certainty score, are we encapsulating every match under one umbrella? Like,
what does that mean?
Like, you know how our score is based on how many matches there are?
Yes.
Are we going for Mania total matches or for each night?
Each night, I think.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I was just curious because I thought of it.
Any thoughts on the set?
The set was cool. It was like, it was more different than what we had for Revolution. It was, you had like 2 screens and then like a vertical tron in the middle and some light bars. Like, I thought it was nice. It had a cool aesthetic to it, and it was noticeably different, which I always
We are very
enjoy.
different in so many ways.
Yeah, well, last year at Dynasty, they just used the typical Dynamite
Not
set.
one of those details.
Last year at Dynasty, they didn't use a unique set, so I was glad that they did it here.
If you said vaguely describe the set for $1 million, I would not do well. And then you're like every detail. I love it.
It was nice. I liked it.
Yep. I'm glad. I'm sure I liked it too. I'll start out. It seems to be a theme on this. I don't think there needed to be 10 matches. Especially once you see a bunch of them.
No,
could have been on Dynamite, a couple of them for sure.
Could have been on ROH.
Could have been on ROH, one of them for sure. But anyways, we will go through each one quickly this time. So it opens with, and I hear that it wasn't originally supposed to be, but it got moved to the opener. It's Will Ospreay.
Wise choice.
I think so too. Ospreay defeated Kevin Knight. Really good opener in the first round of the Owen Hart, right? Knight had replaced Jay White as we expected. As we expected, Ospreay gave Knight a ton in this, right?
Yeah, it was what we expected.
And he took full advantage.
So crazy. The UFO splash is awesome.
That's a note of mine, yes.
It's awesome. There were some times where he kicked out of some stuff. I don't remember exactly, but he did kick out of some Ospreay's big stuff. And there were some near fall roll ups where even though I knew Ospreay was always going to win, I'm not going to lie. There were a couple times where I thought Knight had a chance.
Go to the Styles Clash counter because
Yeah.
he countered one into a DDT on the ramp, and then it was like a snap. Irana's not the right word, but he like snaps him into a pinfall really quickly.
There were some near falls and roll ups where I thought Knight had a chance. Like there were some really close near falls, so I thought Knight looked like $1 million here. He looked like he had a chance at some point.
He did. The crowd was
incredible.
Also on board.
Like it was always an easy one to pick, but it kind of they definitely sowed some doubt. I think
so too. And even though we all knew,
it was super entertaining. Like it was as great. I think it was just a good consolation for not getting Switchblade. Which I think would have been a great match too, but that would have been also a really different match than this.
So I don't know how. Oh, it was 14 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
We had a power bomb, Styles Clash, Oscutter near fall, and then he just immediately follows up with the hidden blade for the win.
Yeah, and I was glad this was on pay-per-view. Even though it could have been a TV match too, I like when it's uninterrupted like this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I agree.
Time,
we would have lost like 4 minutes somewhere along the line. So
I think this was really great for an opener, and like wasn't super long. It was a perfect energetic opener, so I thought it was perfectly placed and perfectly done.
They shake hands and hug after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Knight really showed out and just super athletes, really fun action. You don't really care that you know who's winning, and like you said, there was a couple times where you just really want to think, oh my goodness, Knight might actually win this. Yeah, high energy, awesome opener. I went, what did Cage Match
is saying 7.78.
I went over. I said 4 stars, which
I
would be an 8.
It was an easy 4 stars, super enjoyable. No star because it's a tournament match, but there's a bit of stakes there, and it was just like
a story of really build in 4 more minutes, and this could be like
for sure. Right? I think it was one of my favorite matches of the night. Me too. It was just really great. Yeah, I agree. It was really great.
Then we go to the
Meltzer.
Oh, sorry.
Was 4.5.
I didn't know he was in. Wow. Okay.
I mean, it was great. It was.
We're harsher though.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't have a lot of 5-star matches.
My stars are finite, not infinite.
Correct. Mine as well. AEW World Tag Team Championship match. Hurt Syndicate defending against Big Bill and Brian Keith. MVP is obviously with the Hurt Syndicate. Takeaways from this. All I really needed to say is Big Bill looks really strong. And Brian Keith was there to take offense and the pinfall.
Yeah, Big Bill looked good here, and I thought this match was actually pretty decent.
The only way Big Bill got stopped was an MJF ring shot, right?
Yeah.
MJF sat.
Big Bill had a good run in this match,
crowd.
So at least there's that.
He did, definitely. Shelton German suplex, Lashley spear.
Yeah, Shelton did German Big Bill at one point, which is pretty impressive.
It was. So yeah, Big Bill gets taken out by the ring shot, and that leads to the finish. Spear to Keith. 10-minute match. Kind of like all it needed to be, but did it need? This is one where I'm like, is this a pay-per-view match?
This one isn't to me. I'm glad we're getting the Hurt Syndicate on pay-per-view though. So for me, it's like pay-per-view defenses is a good thing, but I would have rather the team like Top Flight.
And apparently they were not supposed to be in this story, so they didn't have much of a build because it was supposed to be Cage and Archer. Remember?
Yeah, that's true.
But yes, again, Bill looks good in a tag team. They made him really strong here. He had to be.
I always really liked Big Bill. I was always a fan of him with Enzo.
Yeah,
I liked him more than Enzo.
But I just thought solid, nothing special.
Yeah, I agree, and it furthers the MJF story.
That's right. Which I'm confused by, but it's okay.
I'm not like I'm out on it. I'm just like confused by it.
Same. I'm not out on it, but I'm like I don't foresee a payoff where I'm happy.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I think. So over under accurate on this bad boy?
5.48 from Cage Match.
I went over slightly. I said 3 stars.
I said 3. Nothing wrong with it.
No, an average match.
It was fine. And Meltzer went 2.5, so he was negative on this one.
Yeah, because to me 2.5 is like I did not enjoy.
Yeah, and I didn't hate this.
Inoffensive.
I'd say I enjoyed it more than the Outrunners match just because I liked the showcase for Big Bill, I think.
Yeah, he looked good for sure. We move into the Women's Owen Hart Foundation quarterfinals. Mercedes Moné, Julia Hart. We see Harley Cameron is watching backstage on a monitor. There was a decent Meteora in this, the one off the apron. I don't know if you remember.
I don't.
Hart was showcasing submissions, Tarantula, Octopus, I think.
Tarantula,
both.
But like she's not long enough to get. She couldn't like grab it all the way.
Statement Maker escaped. Heartless applied. Back into a Statement Maker.
I don't like Heartless. It's like a poor man's Rings of Saturn.
It is. Then like a sort of inside cradly thing by Monet to win. After almost 13 minutes, and we see Athena after the match. I guess the point was she was watching the match somewhere backstage too. I mean, pretty good. Focus on kind of submissions near the end of it, right? Like extended submission exchange. Really predictable outcome as far as I'm concerned. Don't think it needed to be on a pay-per-view. A quarter-final match.
Yeah, like this was definitely a match I did not want on here, and we're in the minority, but I'm out on Julia Hart. I just don't.
Out?
Also, we thought it was funny that they
I'm
changed their
less
theme.
in for sure.
They changed their theme, and it's like the heart
Dude,
always
that
wins.
was
I was like, come on, that's not a thing.
Just keep it the same and change one
That's
word.
not a thing.
No one will notice.
That's not a thing.
This kid will notice.
It's just like she's not great in ring, and I don't think she really fits the character they've given her. I don't think she's as great as people think she is. I don't know why people are so over for her.
I think people want the dark, adorable.
It's great, but I just don't think it works.
It's not my favorite thing either.
And Monet is fine. Monet is pretty good.
She's
but
had
I
some
also
matches
think,
we like.
But that's against people like
I agree.
Statlander and who we really like.
And Hart is fine to a little better than fine.
Yeah,
I
she's
think.
not like Anna Jay, but she's definitely no Monet.
And I
You know
guess
what
the
mean?
point is it was so competitive, Monet couldn't hit a finisher and had to
I
do
guess.
So that protects Julia Hart? I don't know. Over under accurate. Sorry, I almost gave away my ratings.
This was 6.12.
I would
cage
say
match.
pretty much accurate. I went 3 1/4, so that's like
I'd be
I
on
guess
par
I'm a
with the
little
last
over.
one. I'd say 3. If I had to pick, I'd say the last match I liked more.
yeah.
This was also 2.5 from Meltzer.
I think I like this a little better, although that's a good way. I think I did. Trios Tag Team Championships. Death Riders. It's Castagnoli, Pac, and Yuta versus Rated FTR, Copeland, Dax, Cash. So this was not more about, but it was largely about the stuff going on after this. Which,
Yeah, I'd say so, but I
which I
think the match
predicted.
was still good, yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Not
The
only
Death
every
Riders
match-
entrance with the red lighting coming from backstage and Claudio's like final boss signing theme. The Death Riders entrance was money.
Yeah, it was cool. You should put it on the list. We always
Yeah.
need some of those.
Yeah.
Lots of don't love it. No, don't love him, but I mean it's cool for him that the singing of Copeland's song, right?
Yeah, I like
become
it.
a thing.
It is, yeah. And I think it's kind of sweet because he's, old and his theme songs. It's not like Judas where it became a thing because it's Jericho's Cruise or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Edge's theme is a classic one, right? It's
Yep.
just, I think it's because it's such a classic
The fact
theme
that
and
he
one
got to
everyone
bring
loves
it with him was surprising to me. a
Him
bit.
and Punk, it's like
Mhm.
it's their thing. I think because the story was he's friends with the guy
yeah,
or some guy in Alter Bridge who does the song.
maybe
Which
that
is
would
why
make sense.
also the Judgment Day theme was also by Alter Bridge because originally it was Edge's new heel theme when he started doing the spooky stuff.
Spooky.
So
he did
right, because he was
He
Judgment
was
Day,
Judgment Day,
right?
Oh yeah,
So that's also when he cut his hair,
that's right.
right? But so that's why I think he carries it because maybe he doesn't have the rights, but like the band will let him use it
Mhm.
regardless.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
that's cool. We got a Powerplex. We got a Shatter Machine, which we both.
It was a double Powerplex
fans.
because it was
oh yeah, it
Copeland
was.
Superplex and they both went
Is that
for
double.
but Powerplex double glory. I don't know, like because the power and glory, right?
Power
So,
double plex. No, wait. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, it happened. Edge
double powered singleplex.
So this finish is sort of around Edge goes to Spears Yuta, but almost Spears Dax instead, right? Like he just stopped short, and then Yuta shoves Edge into Dax because there's issues there. Then a Psycho knee on Dax for the win. 15 minutes, Yuta gets the pinfall, and it's like he's been bequeathed the knee, the Psycho now,
Yeah.
basically. After the match, Rated FTR are standing together in the ring. Dax grabs Cope and hits him with a pile driver. Dax goes and gets chairs. He wants Cash to join him in a concerto. Cash refuses at first. Then Dax and Cash hit the Shatter Machine on Copeland. Spike pile driver onto a steel chair. Concerto. Doctors come out to stop FTR. We get another concerto by Cash. Medical staff come to the ring. FTR toss the stretcher over and leave. So, first of all, match thoughts?
I thought it was actually pretty good. And
I
I'm
liked
happy,
it too.
I'm happy to get a marquee trios match that I enjoy.
I feel like we're gonna completely agree on the match rating on this one. that
Yeah.
I gave it. I think
Okay.
I'll predict that.
But like I thought it was pretty good and
really good action. I thought.
Copeland's a lot better in a more minor role.
Absolutely.
And FTR are fantastic. Death
They are.
Riders are all great in ring. And so I thought it was really good. I don't think I have any specific thoughts on it, but I remember enjoying it quite a bit.
I did too. More than I thought maybe I would.
I agree.
Because I'm so like, Death Riders.
And I thought the heel turn was awesome.
I did too. It was a really vicious beat down.
It was like, and I liked how they like
because they've been setting us up to think that Cash has problems with Dax,
right,
right?
and then
that's where
you
they
can
were
see
going.
Cash is kind of hesitant at first, but then he pulls him in the Shatter Machine or Smash Contraption,
Yep.
and it's just, and then they just beat the piss out of him. Like Spike Pile Driver,
Especially
Concerto,
'cause Edge has the
Concerto.
neck.
Yeah,
history of
right.
neck
It was
problems,
just,
right?
it was
So-
so.
I thought so too.
Oh, it was so demonstrative. I thought it was awesome. So I thought the turn made this for me as
And
well.
heel FTR, love them, give them some attention. They could help elevate the tag division. If the Hurt Syndicate or tweeners or whatever are going to get cheered by the crowd and loved, then go to FTR Hurt Syndicate. Like, I don't see any problem with that. I'm on board for it.
I think so, because the Hurt Syndicate, I think they're better as cool heels, but you could really go the Braun Breaker route here, where it depends on their opponents, because they're over, but they
Yes.
could be bullies if you want them to be, and I think that's okay because the fans will like them anyways.
And they're heels just because they beat people. They don't like cheat and moan and whine and complain, right? They're just dominant. And whereas FTR can do like a heel sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it could work. I don't, maybe not like quite yet, because it's kind
I
of
agree.
weird. And I think maybe you could do it in the meantime, and Edge cost them their tag title match eventually, because you could build up to that.
You could.
And then you could have him cost them, so then you can spin off. Because I guess I've seen people predict it, and I feel like it's kind of true that we build to Edge and Christian against FTR.
Nick Wayne turns on Christian. Christian turns babyface.
But
Edge
how
and
does
Christian FTR?
See, the thing is though, with the Nick Wayne turn,
That's what's happening.
I don't think that turns Christian babyface, or at least I don't think that makes sense too. Just the way it seems
Doesn't
to be
mean
set
they
up.
won't do it.
No, I agree. I agree, and I don't think that's a bad call to make.
I would
I'm just saying,
heel Christian too.
logically,
Just
yeah.
personally.
But I also feel like if him and Edge retire soon, that's okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And so
Christian
I
could
think
manage.
that's what I agree. But I think them going not on top, but like going out together would be
Yep.
sweet.
Over under accurate.
Okay, so cage match.
I'm
where
calling
is
it. You're gonna
It's
be like, yep, I agree.
6.91.
Sorry,
6.91 for cage match.
I went over. I went 3 3/4.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's okay. I want you to guess, Meltzers. It's definitely surprising.
4 1/4.
4.5.
I was gonna say 4.5.
Yeah,
Damn it. Wow. Okay.
that's pretty crazy. Like, it was good. It was good, but not 4.5.
Back to the women's division. Timeless Tony Storm defending. She has Luther with her, obviously, against the Megasis.
The Megasis.
Megan Bain and Penelope Ford is with
Penelope.
her.
Why is like Penelope's like part of this entrance? Like, she's part of the club. It's just like, I don't mind Megan Bain having a lackey because I think she's cool and she's like the big hoss and whatever. But
Ford is not.
something about it, yeah, just rubs me the wrong way. And I'll talk about their Dynamite promo later. I was not feeling it.
Storm is kind of like in Rocky inspired gear because they're
Yeah, there's a whole
Philly.
Rocky entrance. I thought that was kind of neat. Like, it was something, you know.
Bain
Is
looked
he a
like
Philly thing, or is it just like to do Rocky? I guess
it's a Philly thing.
Okay, so because they're in Philly, so I was like,
Because he
I
like
guess that
runs
makes
up the steps of stuff there
Okay,
and
okay.
whatnot, I believe. Bane looked like a beast in this. Tons of suplexes, throws,
sense.
Falcon
Yeah,
arrows.
Bane looks really good.
Even a suicide dive I was not expecting. Took Luther out because
Yeah.
Storm moved.
But that's the thing. We've always been saying, like, she looks really good in ring. It's just that in story wise, they put no substance
None.
into her. And even after this on Dynamite, we'll see. Like, they just don't. In ring, she's fantastic, and she looks like $1 million every time.
She does. So Ford gets involved multiple times. We get a belly to belly off the turnbuckle. That remember,
Oh yeah,
I was worried about Megan Bain for
Bane
a hot minute there.
I think it was.
She was
it either
fine.
That or is the German where she did like the flip out. It was something like that, but where it's like she
Barely
almost
like,
under rotated. Yeah.
Yes, that's the
It
term.
it was pretty dangerous. Yeah, like it was close to being dangerous or catastrophic is the word. Sorry, but luckily all was fine.
2 clotheslines, a power bomb, the F5. Fate's Descent.
Fate's Descent.
But Storm does the inside cradle thing once again. That's what it's her old rookie Tony Storm.
It's her
Sorry,
large package or whatever. Double
right,
entendre,
right.
like,
15-minute match. I thought good. I really
good, not
liked
great.
Bane's performance. Like she definitely held
Yeah,
her own.
I think Bane always looked really stellar, but the story was not.
no, that's
a thing,
gonna put a
and
ceiling on the match
I
altogether.
knew,
for me.
unfortunately, Bane wasn't going to win, so it did kind of damage it for me. Like, I thought it was serviceable, but nothing really special.
I liked it more than you. I think Storm gave Bane a lot, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But kind of like Monet's match earlier, in the same division, you have like no finisher, kind of catch them with a roll up or inside cradle or
For
whatever.
your main
So it's kind of a weird
title
choice.
pay-per-view matches.
But I liked it. I think they're doing a good job of building a new star in Bane. But like you said, they have to start fleshing out her character a bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Over under accurate?
It was 7.73 from Cage Match, which is
Under. I went 3.5 though.
pretty
I
big.
feel like you're a 3.25.
I'm a 3.25 for sure.
Yeah.
Meltzer's 4, which I think is definitely
That's
too
crazy.
much.
Yeah. I think we're getting to a point where people love Tony Storm so much
Yeah.
that they can't help but like Meltzer with Osprey maybe. Although Osprey,
Osprey's
when
just
is he not good?
Yeah, like to me, Osprey lifts up a solid match to being really good.
I agree.
Storm is really good, but if the story isn't there and the opponent's not great, and Bane is great, but I think there's a better match in there and there's a better story in there.
That's the key.
And
just a better character in Bane.
And a better character in Storm.
I think so. Men's Owen Hart quarterfinals. Kyle Fletcher
In the hot pink.
Right. Yes, very much. I think our fans were yelling at him about.
I liked
some
it.
yelling. So Callis is with him, obviously, and joins commentary. It's Mark Briscoe, his opponent, and dude, this match.
I thought this match kicked ass.
This was a killer match.
Yeah.
Briscoe looked amazing.
Yeah, Briscoe took a beating with like a bunch of apron power bombs and all backs off. Fletcher's great.
Got
Briscoe's
the cutthroat
great.
driver.
The cutthroat looked nasty.
Brainbusters all over the place.
Brainbuster on the turnbuckle.
On the
also
ramp,
on
I think,
on
too.
the ramp, yeah. Like, it's been like
Avalanche
a week,
Razor's Edge.
Yeah, it's just this was really great as you expected it to be, and like I said, it felt like a TV match, but it's uninterrupted, so then it's like better than a TV match.
It was, and there was a suplex on a chair too. Remember that?
Yeah, because I thought it was really funny. Briscoe's trying to bring in the chair, do the dive D outside like he always does, but the ref stops him. So Briscoe responds by throwing like 15 chairs in the ring.
That's right.
And so he tries to do the dive, but then Fletcher hit him with a half and half on the
Looked awesome.
and on the chair. Yeah, and it looked nasty. I thought it was a sick.
So 2 of Fletcher's crazy looking running kicks in the corner brainbuster. Fletcher wins after 16 minutes. I was very, very much a fan of this match.
Yeah, I thought
me
it
a
was
little
really
by
good.
surprise. I think like Fletcher's offense is so good that when the other person is doing the resilient babyface thing, it really serves them well because
Yeah.
it looks like he's killing them.
Yeah,
So when you're playing the part of I'm fighting through this and not stopping, like it helps.
because Fletcher's so killer.
He
Yeah.
is. And then Briscoe looked amazing too.
And they're both really yelly guys, so it makes it more
It is.
entertaining.
There is a
match
lot
a
of
bit,
sound.
right? It's
Yeah.
just like very vocal. which
I was
like.
super into this by the end.
Yeah, I agree. This was one of my favorite matches of the night, if not my favorite match.
I think this is further evidence that Fletcher is like
Money.
on the cusp of being a massive star.
He's money.
Like you can put him. Not that Briscoe's not good. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
but,
Briscoe's
like,
fantastic, but
They worked super well together.
you can
Again,
just pull a great match out of thin air.
predictable outcome, awesome match.
Yeah, I agree. I think Fletcher's awesome.
He is.
So
Over
really
under
liked it.
accurate.
8.11 from Cage Match.
I'm slightly over. I went 4.25.
Yeah, and Meltzer's 4.75.
Wow.
Which is crazy. I agree. It's 4.25. It was a
Awesome
fantastic
match, man.
Yeah.
Super fun to watch.
Yeah, a really great tournament match. If Fletcher gets to face Hangman, I'm really excited for
This
that.
show needed something like this to over deliver for me,
Yeah,
which is weird to say because I love Fletcher and I knew this match would be good, but I thought it was excellent.
yeah.
All right, and then we go into Ring of Honor. So we're gonna leave AEW for a minute
We're gonna leave excellence.
and go to Ring of Honor. So World Championship title. It is title versus mask, actually. Jericho and Bandito, and talk about stupid finishes. Oh my goodness.
So dumb.
So
bad.
like within the way wrestling works or has worked forever. Like,
Yeah.
So anyways, we'll get there. So
I think reverse finishes are so stupid. It's like the trope when you put them in submission and they just won't let go. So they're like, okay, we're gonna reverse the decision, as if
Yeah.
that makes sense in any regard.
So Bandito's mother and sister are there. They will play heavily into this. Bandito's brother Gravity shows up at one point.
Did he? I actually forgot.
He did. I think he chases off Keith.
Sure.
Yeah, if I say so. There is a power bomb onto the floor. Was it off the apron or
Yeah, that looked
the
crazy.
smack on that?
Really,
was
really good.
something else.
Yeah, that was a really cool spot, I thought.
Jericho taunts Bandito's mom, and Bandito beats the 20 count because it's ROH, so it's a 20 count, not 10. This
What,
was
really?
Remember the stalling suplex?
Yeah.
A minute long, right? He
That
counted to
was
60, I believe,
nuts.
which is crazy. Other feats of strength is him, like the gorilla press slam, and Bandito's
Yeah,
nuts.
Bandito's pretty insane.
So yeah, Keith gets involved. Gravity shows up. They fight to the back. And in that chaos, Jericho grabs Floyd, the baseball bat, hits Bandito with it, pins him for the win until, because all it takes now.
There's another ref there from the interference. Aubrey's there. And so the sister and the mom point out where the bat is.
Just so.
And that's enough to like reverse the decision.
Fine, it's his sister and his mom, but it's at the end of the day, it's two fans in the front row. Hey, he just used, hey, ref, he used a bat, and I'll take you to it.
But then it's like, we also don't, like, that
so
could have,
dumb.
in
So
theory,
stupid.
that bat could have been there the whole time. He could have not used it, and they could just be pointing out the bat. Like,
Well, that's part of it is you're just taking the word of somebody.
because the
and
whole thing is
you
that if
didn't
the ref
see it.
doesn't see it, it didn't happen, right?
Correct.
Because, I mean, a lot of times people clown on the refs for missing this or that, and sometimes that's rightful, but the fact of the matter is that the ref doesn't see it, then it's fair game.
And if you're going to do this, then why isn't there somebody just every week who's watching the, like, in production going, hey, they just cheated.
Or
Ref.
why don't we get the fans to say something
anyways.
every time?
So that's what happens. Match restarts. I think Jericho goes to grab Bandito's sister by the hair, and that puts him in position for the 21 plex. Bandito wins, and it's over. We have a new Ring of Honor champion. This got 18 minutes, and the match before this that we loved got 16, if that helps you think about it at all.
Yeah.
In some kind of way.
That's
Too long.
Yeah.
Stupid finish.
Yep.
Made this match worse than it was, I think.
Not something that need to be here. Just this should, like I said before, and I said this before even seeing the match. This should have been on an ROH show.
Of course. Really fine with Jericho's title reign ending. Big fan of Bandito,
That is
but
fine.
too many moving parts. Impressive.
Yeah, I love Bandito, but the belt means nothing. So
impressive Bandito strength. I didn't think the action was bad, but I don't know. Over under.
I just don't like Jericho matches these days.
That's doesn't move the needle at all.
4.63 from Cage Match.
So wow, I went over that. I went 3. I thought it was
3
average
because it wasn't bad, but I didn't love it. And Meltzer was 3 1/4. So
yeah,
he's
so
in that ballpark.
right around that ballpark. I don't think it was bad. It was average and with a terrible finish, which I guess you could deduct points if you are so inclined. I wouldn't fight you on it.
Yeah.
TNT Championship next. Daniel Garcia versus Adam Cole. No time limits, no outside interference because there's been issues in the past.
First time it was thrown out because of STP interference, and the second
Right.
time they went to a time limit draw.
Gotcha. Not a lot of notes here. Cole, Panama Sunrise on the floor. Garcia hit one in the ring, and he hit the boom, I think. He was taking Cole's
The last shot.
stuff in this, yeah. 2 more Cole, Panama Sunrises, and a boom. Cole becomes champion. Just over 15 minutes, so same length as other matches in this show. I guess that's fine. Good technical match, right?
Yeah.
Ends another mediocre title reign, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. Like there was all I expected and wanted. I'm really happy for Cole because
I hope he elevates the title or gets it visible.
He hasn't held a singles belt since
Right.
he was the NXT champion, had the Mammoth run. It's his first belt in the company.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yep.
I mean, he has been plagued by some massive injuries.
Right, he has.
Like talk about bad luck. I mean, there's some people get injured constantly, but he just had 2 injuries that took him out.
Devastating one.
Well, there's the concussion that took him out for over a year, and then there was the ankle injury where his ankle died. Yeah. So I'm happy for him. I hope he does well for the belt because he is great, and I hope he turns heel during the title run because that'll make it better.
Yeah.
And I hope the Undisputed Era, this is kind of an up for them, like because I think you're talking about FTR, but
who?
Undisputed Era.
Sorry, who?
Undisputed Era.
Mm.
I'm not
Paragon.
No, that's not a thing.
I'll just dub it over your voice.
Yeah,
Paragon.
It's like the one scene from the middle, and remember Brick's doing the everybody dance now, but he plays it so it's like everybody read. You know, it'll be like
that's what I'm doing.
It'll be like the Paragon. But yeah, so I hope he does well. But I was saying, hopefully O'Reilly and Strong get in the tag scene because they're great.
So I like this match. I'd probably sound like
good.
I didn't.
It was pretty good.
I thought it was good, but not great. I think there was a lot
Garcia's
of...
a solid wrestler. It was weird that he was working heel.
He was targeting Cole's leg a lot, I think, and stealing his moves.
Yeah.
I guess pay-per-view worthy. Also think it could have been a TV main event if you want, but...
I agree.
It was there. Over-under accurate on that?
It was 5.64 from Cage Match.
I'm above that. I went 3.5.
Yeah.
Thought it was better than average, like a good match.
And Meltzer went 3 1/4.
Okay. Meltzer.
I'm looking at the next match. The 3-way was half an hour.
It was.
Wow.
Flew by.
I agree.
So it is the AEW International Championship Omega Ricochet Speedball. Few things I noted. They remember the double babyface slap to Ricochet's head. I think it was out on
And
the floor.
the three-way with Takeshita, was 20 minutes.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
I love that one.
you did. Ricochet slammed Bailey from the
Everyone
barricade onto Omega's back. I think it was in early on. Ricochet puts on a headset, starts bragging, takes a super kick from Bailey. We got a bunch of different crowd chants about Ricochet being bald. Some super snappy Omega Snapdragons. Heading into the finish, Ultimate Weapon on Ricochet for 2. V-trigger to break up the pinfall attempt to Bailey. Ricochet poison Rana to Omega. Ricochet goes after Bailey on the top rope, but Omega gets a hold. Ricochet hits an avalanche one-winged angel, pins Ricochet, which I wasn't expecting.
It was avalanche and also facing out of the ring. So usually I feel like it'd be
Right.
easier if like he was coming
Yeah,
forward, but like
I
he had to
agree.
kind of like do a backwards
and
jump
clear
with
the
it.
turnbuckles.
Yeah,
I thought this was awesome. This was my match of the night.
I agree.
I loved
It
it.
was just action all over the place. So the Ricochet
I
also
was-
played his role with
He
the
did.
slimy heel really well.
Being opportunistic and
Yeah. Apparently, I think it's a callback to PWG when he was on the commentary and he gets kicked out of frame by
Oh, yeah.
Speedball. I think it's a PWG reference.
the match length surprised me as well. Just like watching you be like, wow, this was 31. Felt like I thought it was going to be like 23, 24
Kind of like
minutes.
the other Triple Threat. Yeah. It got a lot of time, but it was really great. Like, it felt like the action kind of kept going.
And a
and having
heel
the
that the
three
crowd
guys-
loves to hate, right?
Yeah.
So
So there was actually a compelling dynamic in there.
there was.
And yeah, like the action kind of, and they did a good job of shuffling it between the guys, not letting it boil down to one guy every time, and also didn't get boring.
And it's still super fresh seeing Bailey, who is awesome against these guys, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There was
I
a
hope
lot
people
going
are
on
loving
here.
Mike Bailey because he's pretty great.
Yeah. This is pretty.
I thought he was going to
stellar.
take the pin here, but I guess it doesn't hurt the lone heel like failing to overcome two baby faces at once, sort of thing. Crowd was really into this halfway through, and I thought it was excellent for us at FNS because we're geniuses. The result was predictable because we predicted everything, and an FTR turn almost exactly how it happened. But the quality of this was awesome. I
agree. And then Okada came out for a stare down.
right,
with Omega,
little
but
stare down with Omega after.
I think
which
we're
is,
teasing that match. We all know is happening.
It is coming. Over under accurate.
Cage match was 9.12.
I'd say accurate. I went 4.5, which is
Meltzer's 4 3/4.
of course yes, I knew he would be.
So yeah, I agree. 4.5. It was pretty awesome.
It was pretty awesome. I recommend it if you're like looking to cherry pick and maybe not sit through whatever this was 5 hours.
It's this and the two men's tourney matches.
I agree. Then we get to the main event. Unfortunately, this was not one of the matches of the night. Not that it was bad. I'm not trying to say that.
Definitely better than the Copeland one.
Agree. World Championship AEW Moxley with Marina Shafir defending against Swerve with Nana. And even it's sort of weird. How do you feel about the ref holding up the briefcase?
I think it's
not,
funny.
And not the title.
I think it's funny.
Like he's not allowed to open it. Mox's back still has marks on it from the as you would expect, I guess, to be fair. Swerve gets sent over the announce table somewhere near the beginning, and I even said as soon as he disappeared under the table, oh, he's cutting himself right now.
At least they didn't catch it.
He was. Comes up bloody. We get a paradigm shift on the steps. We get a pile driver. Mox punches, biting Swerve's head wound. Swerve flatliner, a couple house calls. Shafir gets involved. Nana confronts her. Shafir hits Nana in the back with the briefcase. Mox accidentally catches Shafir with the cutter. Swerve hits a paradigm shift on Moxley. We get a Swerve spot. The big spot was probably the Swerve stomp off the ladder through a table, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Ref gets knocked out with a thrown chair. Swerve hits a vertebreaker, if I'm saying that right. I think that's right. Hangman Page comes out. Looks like he's hesitant. Hoot a buckshot for a second. Refs and Death Riders come out, take him out. But he ends up eventually hitting a dead eye to Moxley.
Yeah.
Brawling ensues. Ops come out, right? Swerve hits his stomp, but he can't quite make the cover, and I don't think there's a ref at that point. Anyways, lights go out. It's Malachi. I'm just kidding. He didn't leave, Swerve. You all bought it.
Dirt
Dirt sheets.
You thought he was having a contract dispute or something?
That's right. It's the Young Bucks. V triggered to Swerve. Mox makes the cover, and it's over. This was 31 minutes, which is part of my problem because it's so easy to compare to the match before it that was 31 minutes and go, one of these is way better than the other one.
Yeah.
Not that this is bad.
Yeah. Agreed.
But definitely all the run-ins, all the shenanigans, a lot of good stuff before the finish. But for me, it's just like this is the Death Riders thing. and every match finish is a million people running in.
Yeah.
And I don't really like it. This is the standard Moxley defense of this reign.
I thought it was better because Swerve is more entertaining in the ring for me than Copeland is.
But still can't get to that elite level for me.
No, and I think a lot of people complain about the overbooking here. It didn't particularly bother me.
Yeah.
I think the Bucks angle is interesting.
I just kind of expect it, but man,
I do expect it.
The Bucks, like just all the stuff, not necessarily the Bucks. But like, how are they going to explain helping a group that their mandate is to destroy the company they built? Like their whole thing, I guess, initially was this country's terrible. The people in it are whatever. We're going to tear it apart. And then
I think the whole thing was they wanted people to step up and people to do better. And
are they saying that's happening?
I think they're saying it's still not happening in theory, which is why they're still.
So the Bucks are helping. Why?
I don't know. They kind of explained it.
Did they?
I don't know. I feel like it's like there's something there.
I feel like they were just like, anyways, we'll get there on Dynamite, I guess. But I did like the match though. It was,
and I like setting up new trios challengers. I think with the ops, I think is kind of what we did as well.
I guess that's true. It was too long. The finish was not one I enjoyed.
Finish was fine for me. I think it could have gone a little longer after that. Like I didn't love that Mox just pinned him off the EVP trigger.
But then we're going like 40 minutes.
Not even, but like just hit him with the paradigm shift or Death Rider at the very least. To just do something else or choke him out. Like have it set up the finish, not be the finish. If that makes sense.
It would have made sense to choke him out there and he passes out or whatever. Over under accurate?
4.58 from Cage Match.
4.58. I think people are kind of going a little too far now with the hate.
Yeah, I agree.
I went 3.5.
I agree. I thought it was solid.
Yep, it definitely wasn't bad. The action was good. The last however many minutes was dumb, and maybe again you're penalizing it for that. I don't
think it was as bad as people make it out to be. And then it's 3 3/4 for Meltzer, which is a little much.
That's a little high.
Yeah, that's still fine.
Overall, show was too long. Kind of a bloated card, but there were some gems.
It's funny because I feel like we sometimes I was looking at WrestleDream because I was looking at the 3-way and that had Oh, wait. I guess they had less matches because it was 13, but that's including the pre-show.
Damn.
But that's including pre-show. This was without pre-show, which we did watch. I thought the trios match was pretty good. Remember, towards the latter stage, it was Nick Wayne and Crew against AR Fox and Top Flight. And that was pretty good.
It was. I forgot we watched the pre-show or 0 hour, whatever it's called.
Yeah, so that was pretty solid. But, a bit too many matches, I think, for the main
3
card.
gems, opener, triple threat, Fletcher Briscoe.
Yeah, and then some other solid stuff, too.
I agree. So I did math, averaged it out. Set a Canadian B, and I think that's
I think that's fair. I was saying to you, it was a good show, but by AEW standards, it's a little lesser because AEW is usually super stellar with their pay-per-views.
If they trimmed the fat and a couple builds were stronger, it's a much better show.
Yeah,
Give me 7 matches that I care about.
It's one of those shows that felt like it was feeling the effects of the more active pay-per-view schedule because I feel like every now and then there's the pay-per-view that
I think that's
kind of takes the short end of the stick in that regard. So this has definitely felt like one of those shows, and sometimes they pull it off anyways.
Yep.
Like WrestleDream last year or All Out last year, because those are 2 of the best shows of the year.
But hey, a pay-per-view at the end of the day with 3 matches, we think you should go out and see.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's
30%.
Yep, 30% of the time, it's great every time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that wraps up our review of that. We'll move into more AEW, but it's the weekly offering we always talk about. It's AEW Dynamite. So how did AEW follow up that pay-per-view? Tell me.
With their weekly show.
Wow. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
It was on Wednesday too, believe it or not.
It's Wednesday night. You know what that means or whatever.
It was a Thursday. He was lying.
That's true.
We watched on a Thursday. We actually one-shotted it though, so that's usually pretty
good. We did one-shot it.
That's usually a good sign.
So let me ask you. I was thinking about this. When we watch it on Thursday night or after, whatever, what percentage of the show have you seen through clips already?
Oh, okay, that's tough. I would say,
because I know you were I know you see things because that's
under half. Because a lot of the promo segments I can see, not necessarily.
That's what I figured. Not match stuff, unless there's a
results I see. I usually have seen already because the Authors of Wrestling he posts live.
I assume things like Moxley getting nails through his back you saw before it happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably 20 times.
Hangman going into Swerve's locker room I saw already.
Yeah.
I don't remember what else. Like, but
I know there was something you commented that you had already seen, and that's what made me think.
Yeah,
like,
I'd seen Jericho smash up the TV already.
Right.
But like there's certain bits I do tend to catch.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, sorry.
The night of, yeah.
And
usually results for sure.
So it starts. Oh, I'm gonna give you a fantasy, well, not fantasy booking, just what I think might happen once we can talk about the opening bit here.
Moxley promo. He puts over the roster, calling them the greatest group of pure talent assembled under one roof. He wondered why they can't get their act together when it counts. He said they don't want it the way he does, and they'll scorch earth with anybody who thinks they are a contender, and this is his life's work. It can't be bought or whatever, something like that. He said the Bucks have returned, and it's interesting. As interesting power players in pro wrestling, he said he doesn't recognize them, and he told them to figure it out and be careful before they make any moves.
Yeah, so Mox always sounds good, right?
It's just... it was most of his typical speak. I thought it was more interesting when he shifted focus to the Bucks because I like that he was kind of implying that they're kind of walking into a foreign game because things have changed since they left. And I think it clarifies that they're not affiliated, which I think makes it more interesting.
I think that's the point of this.
And I like that, right? That's kind of the point here.
The point was like, yeah, I'm not affiliated with them. They came in and they acted on their own. Right? So here's my thoughts on Moxley for All In. Ready?
Sure.
Hangman wins the Owen.
Right. Okay, that's bold because I feel like I know we say it could go either way, and I agree that, but I feel like I lean towards Ospreay.
But now that I know Ospreay and Okada, is that happening sooner?
Ospreay and Okada?
Or sorry,
Omega.
Okada. So anyway, sorry.
Where does that leave Ospreay?
I don't know, but they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Paige wins the Owen.
Okay, sure.
Faces
Moxley
at All In.
Sure.
Maybe. I think so.
That's what it is. Because if he wins, that's what
it automatically is.
Yes.
Okay. So that works. And then to neutralize the rest of the Death Riders, it's Swerve. And Swerve wants the next match against Paige. And they do like a respect straight up match to contrast like absolute bloodbath.
That would be crazy. That'd be weird.
Right?
But like I could see it happening.
It's kind of cool.
I mean, I feel like you need more people than Swerve, but...
Because I'm trying to place what like Swerve's up to and where these beautiful teases of the fact that their relationship has shifted so
it's clearly
significantly.
Different. It's clearly starting to shift at least.
Subtly given. So this is kind of where I want
That's interesting. I mean Hangman fits a Texas vibe more, right? I know Ospreay wants the main event, but if they go back to London next year, which I think they are, then doesn't it make sense to save Ospreay for
Imagine the pop as Swerve runs out to like neutralize Death Rider people.
Yeah, and I saw people speculate about Hangman Swerve versus the Bucks too.
Yeah.
Which I know we didn't want them as a team, but I kind of like that because it kind of gives me vibes of the greatest tag match ever. Because you have the Bucks, which is one component, but then you also have the teammates with this complex history.
Mm-hmm.
Last time it was Omega and Hangman, they were actually friends, right?
Yeah.
It's just he had complex history because he had left the Elite, but they won the tag titles, so he had
that match was.
That's a special match.
It is.
But to me,
watch that again sometime.
If we get Max.
I could find it somewhere.
I'm just saying. I literally can't. I've tried.
Oh, really?
It's pretty difficult. The older ones, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the benefit of Max is like anything within a year or two I can find pretty well. Like, I watch Omega Ospreay all the time. I watched Fletcher Ospreay the other day.
I was there for that.
The Wrestle Dream three-way I can find pretty easily. But, like, older ones like that tag match are pretty hard to find. But, like, I think it's hard to capture that kind of special dynamic. I thought we might have had that in Australia. Obviously, we didn't. But with Hangman and Swerve against the Bucks, if you book that for Double or Nothing, or even Forbidden Door, because I don't think every match in Forbidden Door has to be interpromotional if you don't want it to be.
Do what they want.
But I would say you could do it at Double or Nothing. I think Hangman and Swerve versus the Bucks has the potential to capture that same magic.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Swerve could easily pull off cool tag elements. Because remember they had the one match where Swerve was teaming with Brody King, and they did some really cool stuff, right? Yep. And we were like, what the hell?
I know.
Right? So I feel like they could do that. And just the history between them, and then they both have some beef with the Bucks, especially Hangman with the history there. But I just think that could have the potential. And you could do that on the road to what you're pitching. I do hope Hangman wins because I think it's a better story. And as much as I love Ospreay will be fine.
Just imagine a Swerve Hangman. We're going to have a straight up match.
I saw people saying too that Hangman versus Mox is a really exciting main event, but it's their biggest show of the year, and there's so much history with Hangman and Moxley because they had that really great feud a couple years back, and I think it would be a really good match.
And people will moan, oh, AEW feuds go backwards. They start out with blood matches and then end up with a regular singles match, right? Like, if they do my plan.
That's different.
But anyway,
I think that's
sorry.
interesting though, and I think they could pull it off because guess what? They're good wrestlers.
That is true.
Then Moxley is wrestling. That's crazy.
He
He's
is.
against Shibata. Love Shibata.
Not sure why exactly, but
because he interfered.
oh yeah, and we're gonna get to the trio
Dynasty.
stuff too.
Yeah. Chop exchange. Shibata falls Mox in the corner with a running boot. Wears him down with some forearms. Hesitation drop kick. He goes for it again. Mox clocks him with a lariat. Pile driver to Shibata, but he absorbs it. PK and they're both down. Shibata locks in a sleeper. Mox gouges his eyes. Sleeper of his own. Shibata goes sleepy. Mox is winning. There he wins.
Pretty ordinary match.
Pretty
for an
solid. Like, it
opener.
was fine. I always enjoy seeing Shibata though, because I think he's great.
Don't
Not like his best showing, but I think he still looks solid, and I always like seeing him. And it wasn't much of a story other than it came out of Dynasty, like I was telling you.
yeah.
Mox is always gonna win, but that's not necessarily bad for a match. Like, this was solid. It's a decent win for Mox.
Yeah.
A rare TV match without the title, I guess.
I thought it was kind of ordinary. I didn't know who it helped. Doesn't help Mox. Doesn't help Shibata.
Yeah, I guess
But
it keeps Mox hot. I don't know.
I guess.
And I guess bolstered this
A
storyline.
vehicle to get the Bucks out there, I guess too.
That as well. I think that's another way to look at it too. Is it's like the enhancement match.
Yeah, to
for
get
an
them
angle.
out. Yeah, that's what it's furthering the angle
Yeah.
after.
Because they come out next, and so we'll roll right to that. He said something to the Bucks, but the mic does not catch it because he didn't say it with the mic.
Mm-hmm.
And then he leaves. The Bucks came out to talk to him, and they told him to come back out, but he did not. So there was that. Nick wanted the fans to show respect to the founding fathers of AEW. He said people are wondering why they cost Swerve the title. He said the first reason was because they did it for Hangman. And he said Hangman never wants her to be champion again, and they did it for him, which I really liked. He said they love Hangman, and they know he loves them too, which is a bold claim given.
But I don't
everything.
think they actually like Hangman. So then
They don't, but I think
so that reason's not valid.
I disagree because I feel like because last year, remember they brought him back off suspension and used him because he hates Swerve. Remember in Blood and Guts, they used him as like their angry attack dog. I feel like they're trying to keep the door open to use him and his rage for their own means again.
Maybe.
I feel like they're keeping the door open to use him, not because they actually care about him,
Mhm.
but because like he is a good tool for them, and because of his not mental issues, but like, you know, how he struggles with self-confidence, and now he's got like that angry side and everything. I feel like it's them trying to keep the door open to like manipulate him.
Maybe.
So I think Hangman's always been the member of the elite that they've tried to manipulate,
Yes.
right? Through like the feud they've had a couple on and off, right? So I think it's them just like
Could be.
so that part actually I did like. And the other reason, what was it? Did I forget to paste it? They said it was a peace offering for the Death Riders, which I think is somewhat shaky, but it kind of works for me because if they're like these ultimate slimy heels, I feel like it's them trying to stay out of the way. And if you're the Bucks too, they could affiliate themselves with the world champion, and the Death Riders aren't going for the tag titles. So the Bucks could still go for the tag titles and be unaffected by the Death Riders if they make an alliance, right?
Yeah.
So hypothetically speaking, it would behoove them to make an arrangement where they're out of dodge of the Death Riders and they could still get what they want. And since Death Riders seem to like quote unquote have control over AEW, that's what the Bucks want, right?
I guess.
You know what I mean?
And I guess that for me, it's more like Death Riders came out saying they wanted to do all these things to AEW, but they've kind of lost that thread anyways.
Yeah.
So I guess the Bucks don't have to be that worried about them because they don't really do much. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I said, they need to start beating people up randomly.
So anyways,
Omega came out next to talk to them. He said that they claim they're doing this for their friends. He reminded them that last time he saw him, they pushed him off a stretcher when he was dealing with diverticulitis. Great word. No Jack Perry, though. No
Nope.
Jack Perry here. He said what they're trying to do here is bring back the feeling, and he told some story about his high school having 2 Shih Tzu dogs, and they shit a lot. He lost me there.
I think that he was comparing the Bucks to these dogs.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess so. He said that's what it was like with the Bucks around when Omega wasn't there. He said last time I saw the Bucks, they were shredding documents, and he said it was to tear up receipts of private jets in a chair facing their bed, which it's not, but it feels like a Vince reference.
Yeah,
It's like something he would do.
I didn't know what Omega was doing here. I
Yeah.
feel like he got lost a little bit.
I agree. I feel like he kind of lost me a bit, and then he kind of came back around.
I thought he forgot lines when he specifically insulted Nick, and then I felt like he
kind of
was
paused.
struggling
He did
to
pause.
retrieve what he wanted to say about
Yeah,
Matt.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it was weird.
He trashed Nick for weighing, looked like he still weighed 90 pounds like before he left. I thought that was kind of funny. And he said Matt was so tan he was as red as Nick's lapel, which I thought that was pretty funny. He had some good lines towards the end. And he said now they've gotten this out of the way, he's thinking of cutting the middleman and fighting them. He gets to the ring, but Okada's music hits. He comes out, Swerve's music hits. He chases them off with a chair, and we're out.
So a reminder that Okada is still in fact aligned with the Bucks, and that they have issues with Omega and Swerve. But I didn't think there was a lot to sink your teeth into here, and I still think they got to have some sort of plan to make this interesting for me.
Another thing I liked about the Bucks for me is that for them, like, I don't know if we're meant to believe they're keeping up on everything, right? But they're also trying to con Hangman to join them and keep the door open in case they need him, especially if they're going to go against Swerve. I think it makes even more sense for them to try to call up Hangman on their side.
Yeah.
Right? But I think that's really interesting because it could be super misguided because based on how, like you were talking about, Hangman and Swerve's relationship has changed so much in the little bits we've been getting recently. And so they're not where they were at last time because a year ago or so when Hangman came back on the Owen and he was hell-bent on taking out Swerve, and his whole thing in Blood and Guts was he handcuffed Swerve to the cage and beat the tar out of him,
right?
And didn't come to the match until Swerve came out, that kind of thing, right? Like the Bucks are, I think, no doubt looking to use that again, right? But now Hangman's changed a lot, and his relationship with Swerve is currently changing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think and that's the thing that could interestingly lead to that tag match I was talking about, where the Bucks are trying to use Hangman as their attack dog to deal with their Swerve problem, but it's not going to go that way. And then we could build to that tag match at Double or Nothing, which I think it'd be hard to build to the tag match while Hangman's in the tournament, but I think it's also okay to do that.
And they're arrogant enough for it to be believable that they think, oh, we can still do what we've always done with Hangman.
And manipulate their anxious
But he's
friend.
kind of a step ahead this time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that could really work. I think that part of the story is kind of intriguing for me. And I think that's partially because the Swerve Hangman story is so strong right now. That I think it could kind of lend itself to this.
They can circle back around to those two guys for
it literally is just
long.
infinite. Yeah, I guess you can't do that tag match at Double or Nothing because the tournament finals are at Double or Nothing, so it'd be Hangman Ospreay. But you could still do something like I said, Forbidden Door. You could just co-op that.
Hangman Ospreay sounds good.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. The peace offering bit kind of works for me as well. I kind of touched on that already. I just think, like, from their point of view, I think it makes sense. But I don't think there's any world where Moxley would want to work with them.
No, I don't think so.
Because he literally denounced them in the beginning here. Like, even if they want to claim their goals are similar, I feel like their philosophies are super different.
Right.
So I don't think, I think for them it makes sense as a slimy move to keep themselves safe and further their own means. But for Moxley, I don't think it would make sense unless they make it clear, and you have to make it clear, that he's using them as, like, foot soldiers. Because maybe with Pac gone, pray he's not.
She's coming up next match.
Right. But if Pac is gone and his numbers are a little depleted, maybe he wants to have the Bucks around. Maybe he wants them to take falls when Hangman or Swerve or whoever's coming after him, right? So maybe that works, but it's somewhat of an MJF thing where I'm curious what the payoff is.
I think Death Riders and Bucks go separate ways.
I think so, but it's interesting at least. Omega was fine. He did lose me in the early going, but I like the jabs he had at the end. That amused me a decent bit. I would have expected to build to Swerve and Hangman against the Bucks, so now I'm curious where Omega factors in. I will say that's kind of a curiosity for me. Now, Swerve and Omega against the Bucks sounds great, don't get me wrong, but like Swerve and Hangman versus the Bucks is just, that's because the story potential is so there. Like, Omega has history with the Bucks, sure, but if it was Omega and Ospreay against the Bucks, I think it'd be more interesting.
Yeah.
Like someone, or Omega and Hangman, even though we've already done that.
We have.
But, like, Omega and Swerve really have had nothing to do with each other, ever, right? So for me, it loses that Revolution 2020 element I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I had hopes for the Australia tag matches, because Ospreay and Swerve have this great history, and then they're facing off against two guys they have history with who are a team, kind of.
Yeah.
But with Omega and Swerve, I feel like you kind of lose that. Anyways, I thought the solid Swerve was kind of cool at the end too. He came across badass. I like the Buck Hunt line because it reminded me of the Acclaimed.
Love that.
We did mention it, but Bowen's got a great reaction on the pre-show too.
Oh, he did.
As rumored, he was the open challenge match for Caster.
Crushed Caster.
Yeah, he squashed Caster as usual.
But yeah, the crowd loved him, which is awesome for him, man.
Yeah, and as expected,
he's cool.
Yeah, he crushed him, but you got a great response. Then Pac attacks her from behind that led to our next match. And I was saying to you, I kind of like the flow we had with the show at this point because we had Mox's promo, then he has a match, then that match bleeds into the Buck segment, that bleeds into this match. So I thought that was kind of cool, and obviously not going to keep it up. It does not keep up after this, but I thought it was kind of. I do like when the show has an ongoing thread.
I do.
Every now and then. Swerve versus Pac though. Snake Eyes in a boot from Swerve. He blocks Hurricane attempt from Pac, lifts him up in the buckle bomb, and he falls up with a diving grab cut to the back. And this is where Pac definitely injured his leg.
Yep.
Things kind of come to a halt. He can't seem to put weight on the right leg, so he rolls out. He gets checked on by the doctor. He hobbles back in. He's hopping on the left foot.
Yep.
Pump kick and a Swerve stomp. Swerve gets the win here. This was fine for what it was. It obviously didn't go to plan, so I'm not going to really criticize it too much.
Nope.
He clearly got hurt after the buckle bomb spot. It doesn't look great. You can see him try to put weight on it, and you just can't do it. I was hopeful when he came back in, but he's clearly just hopping on his good leg, so it's a bad sign. Apparently, he left the arena on crutches, which is also bad.
Yep.
I'm scared for him. He seemed to can't catch a break. I feel like he's been gone for so many periods of time due to like COVID issues or injuries over and over. And I feel like he's finally had sustained TV time in the company's biggest angle too. Like, love it or hate it, he's been in the most major angle in the company. I'm really happy for him. And if he gets taken out for a while, I think it's going to suck, especially when I feel like this angle is going to reach its culmination and he won't be able to be there.
Yeah,
and we really love Pac, so I hope it's not as bad as it seems, but that seems unlikely.
I'm trying to see if there's anything. I haven't seen any update, just that the MRI is scheduled, so.
Yeah,
I mean, it was probably going to be a really cool match, and it was very much cut short, so. I mean, it was what it was, and he hopped in, took a couple more moves, and at least we got to a clean finish, I guess.
Yeah, I am glad at least they finished it, but it still sucks.
Yep, too bad for him for sure.
Then we hear from the teams in this 400K tag match we're gonna get later.
And it's funny because I was like, I'd already written down like, where is this coming from? Why are these guys chosen? Was any of this explained? And then you're like, oh yeah, there's precedent for this, basically.
There's precedent for this kind of thing. Yeah, I would say. Ricochet's team is talking first. It's basically just him captaining himself and saying he'll lead them to victory. They all scoff at him. It's him, Crew, and Mordos. Then the other team, it's Briscoe, Kevin Knight, Speedball, and Ospreay. Briscoe says the word of the day is entrepreneurial, and he asks everyone what they'll do with the money. Ospreay says Disney World. Bailey says he'll get himself shoes, and Knight says Magic City. Then Briscoe, he winds up like he's gonna say something crazy, and he's like, actually, I'm gonna diversify my portfolio, and he does the usual gibberish send off. I have missed the Mark Briscoe craze promos, so this made me happy. I thought it was really funny. The lines that everyone had were pretty fun. Like, Speedball and Briscoe had the best lines, which is crazy for Speedball, but I thought it was really funny, and it was the classic Mark Briscoe entertainment. So this made me happy. This was really quick, but I really liked it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was Briscoe doing the ironic. You expect him to be.
Yeah.
The redneck is the one who's actually like smart investing. Yeah.
And so I thought, his fired up babyface team, talking about their winnings. I thought it was really entertaining. I really liked it. We got a package for the Women's Cup. Monet's gonna face next week on Dynamite the winner of Athena versus Harley, which is in Boston, I think. So Monet probably wins.
I would think so.
Athena and versus Harley, and then Hayter and Bailey's on Collision. Apparently next week it's the Spring Breakthrough is the special title.
Okay.
That's them surpassing the total amounts of episodes of Nitro.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's interesting.
That
Good for them.
Pretty crazy, yeah. Yeah, next week they will have officially surpassed the length of Nitro, which is... I guess Nitro really only lasted like 6 years or so.
I guess, if they're passing it and they're in year 6.
Well, if you think about it, because WCW was around for a while. Obviously, it was NWA, but like WCW, I think, was from 88, I want to say.
I was in on it when it was converting still from NWA.
So it would have been, I think it's 88. I want to say tail end of the 80s, I believe.
Feels right.
It was still affiliated with NWA, but that's when it kind of became, like when Turner bought it and became WCW. Yeah. But Nitro wasn't around for a while.
No,
right?
no.
Not until 95.
It was a more modern creation.
So obviously WCW was around for a while, but this is purely talking on Nitro.
Yep.
So it's definitely interesting. So that's kind of cool. I'm interested to see what else they'll do next week. So we're getting, I know I was thinking we might have to watch Collision because Blake Christian's on against Bowens. But also it's a
big Blake Christian fan here.
Yeah. Takeshita and Brody King,
that's
which is pretty nice. I'm wondering, because I guess we could theoretically see Ospreay and Takeshita next week.
Yep.
But I feel like we could also see, I feel like they have to do Hangman versus the Wild Card next week because that's the only first round match we don't.
Yeah,
have.
you got to finish those first, I think.
So I feel like we could get that. We could get that and Takeshita Ospreay. Honestly, I don't know. For a special, I feel like get to go, but we'll see. I guess I'm just trying to think of what we could do. And I guess we have it would be Athena Monet next week, and then I guess you could have Hayter and Statlander.
Athena Monet should be like that. Should have been on the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
ahead of
it's
some
just,
of these qualifiers.
You just have to put it in the first round, then,
right?
Which is like I don't know if you want to
or
do that.
Start the tournament earlier.
I guess so. Sorry. Then we get Hangman. He's walking backstage. He was supposed to get interviewed by Renee. She's asking him what he thinks about the wild card. He says he doesn't really care about that right now, or he doesn't have anything to say. He walks into Swerve's dressing room. Swerve's not there. It's just Nana. So he shouts at Nana, clarifying he was not there to help Swerve at Dynasty. He told Swerve to stay out of his business in the Owen Hart tournament. Nana said there's something he wanted to say for him for the last year. He said he regretted it, and he's kind of like, you can see he's gearing up to like apologize. Hangman stops him. He says he doesn't want to hear another word, and you don't get to do that. And then he leaves.
Yeah, so another like
I'm so confused and intrigued at the same time.
I know we always talk about how much we love Hangman and his subtlety and his complexity, and
I
think
really like this.
This is it again because I feel like he is still conflicted, and he's trying to convince himself partially that he actually feels the way he's telling people he feels, right? And he doesn't want to access those feelings, which is also why he's cutting off Nana, because Nana's going to say something
that makes him feel
that's going to make him touch
exactly
back into
what
that.
I was thinking.
And so he's trying to
I
play
think
it
he's
off
like afraid to be vulnerable again.
He knows it's there, and he's trying to convince himself he's not.
Which is kind of what he did after the whole I think it was after Chris Fernandez or sometime in the MJF feud where he's like overcorrecting by like, staying angry and trying
he's
to
the
not
best at
suppress
this.
it. Yeah, he's so great. I love it so much because, like you kind of touched on what I was gonna say. But to me, it seems like Hangman is confused after what Swerve said last week. I think it's kind of he was definitely taken aback last week, but I think, and then there's the whole interference with Dynasty where he didn't attack Swerve, and so I think he's just definitely conflicted right now. And I think he doesn't know how to deal with it, which I think he's overcompensating this confliction by trying to stay angry at Swerve and keep him at a distance, right? Like, he doesn't want to either admit that their relationship is changing, maybe they are going to get along, or he also doesn't want to admit guilt, because I think Swerve admitting regret and remorse could kind of force Hangman to do the same, because
that's what I think it is.
Hangman would then have to, like, not just admit that he was wrong, but, like, be vulnerable again and be honest about himself. And maybe he's just skittish about being on decent terms with Swerve after everything, right? And I think, like you were saying, Nana trying to apologize adds depth to this because I think it adds complexion to him, but then it also kind of forces Hangman to deal with those emotions, and he doesn't want to deal with that right now. And I think it's so interesting.
He is shoving those down deep inside.
He's trying to bottle it up, but then Swerve and Nana trying to be like reasonable people is coming into conflict with that.
Even though we're pretty sure Paige is at heart too, he has to not let that out, and it's good. It's good
at
stuff.
Heart we know Hangman's a good dude, and he's like not a maniac. He's also been a maniac, and I feel like he's trying to not let that vulnerable, the anxious millennial cowboy show again. So like it's just they easily do their best work with these guys, and I love the complexity here. I'm always super invested in what they do.
Yep.
I feel like they just need to tap into some of this with anything else, because there's so many layers to this, and it's just so like there's so much to pick apart with this. It's like this is less than 2 minutes, I think, and there's easily we probably talked about it for double the runtime of this.
Same with the previous when they ran into each other in the hallway.
There's just so much to dissect with these guys, and there's so much nuance,
really fun,
and subtlety to pick up. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, and I think it makes. Like, it depends on where it goes. It could be the best storyline of the year.
Yep,
because
I agree.
Because it might not necessarily be a feud this time, which is crazy.
Yes,
but like it's just. And I think I already wrote it in my shortlist, but that Hangman is like a nomination for best character. I think he just perennially belongs there now.
And it's just a matter of how much attention they give his stories.
I agree.
You're right.
I agree.
Yeah,
and I think like it's on the level of maybe not. It's not the same as like comedic value, but I think because so many people were through the roof for Sami Zayn, rightfully so, when he was at his peak.
Yep,
but
he's awesome.
I think Hangman deserves a lot more credit for a character in pro wrestling. It kind of like Kevin Owens, where he's like a real person, and it's so interesting. And like Kevin Owens, he can play both sides so well, because Kevin Owens is a great heel, but also surprisingly a really good babyface.
He is. Owens
and
is amazing.
Hangman is great as well. So I love it so much. There's so much to just
I really liked it too.
dissect there. I could just go on about it. Anyways, then we get the $400,000 tag match thingy-majiggy. It's Ospreay, Speedball, Kevin Knight, Mark Briscoe against Ricochet, Mordos. He's taking the pin, and Crew. Which is I literally said to you, I was
Yeah.
like, I'll bet you the whole money that they're playing for that Mordos takes the pin.
Poor Mordos. And he didn't even get a super mega run like I wanted him to.
No, he did some of his stuff,
did,
but not
No.
not like he usually does.
No.
A brawl breaks out, stereo crowd count punches in all the corners from the babyfaces. Babyface team with a series of corner moves on Ricochet, thrown into a kick from Speedball. Bears dives the outside. Ricochet dives on the babyface team, but they move, so he does a flip, lands on his feet,
Yes, that
which
looks.
he's done before.
Mine just like, oh, his ankles. My goodness.
That was me, every time and Hangman does his big moonsault to the outside, and his ankles don't shatter.
Yep.
And then Adam Cole's jumping off the apron and he gets screwed.
Right. Stiff breeze blows. As
Yeah.
Adam Cole's ankle dies.
Yeah. And then they all slap him on his bald head, which I thought was just
It's becoming a thing.
It's some great comedy, I think Ricochet's
It's funny
doing his
that
best
so many
work,
wrestlers are bald, but that there's something about Ricochet's.
where you have to call him
And
out
I think
on
it's a credit to him because it's he's playing a character that that would get to him.
right? It doesn't matter with most people, so
No.
you have to call it
No
out.
one's doing that to Austin, or
Austin
or the
or
90
Goldberg
right?
or The Rock,
But Ricochet, you're this would bug him because he's the way he is.
right? Or Moxley's bald now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's nothing. So I think it's really funny. It's great. Mordos did hit a tombstone lung blower, which I think is a sick move.
It is cool.
The dry cough
They
is
just
really
called it
getting
a
me.
lung blower. They didn't even call it which it's not.
It was. Ricochet, shout out to Cameron Grimes, hit the cave in the speedball.
Looked amazing.
It looked absolutely drilled him.
Yeah, he did.
Was.
It looked great. I love that move.
It was atrocious.
It looked good.
Not atrocious bad, but
he
it
should
looked.
have that.
If you can do it that good, it looked amazing. Could have drilled him through the mat, and I would have been yeah, that's fair.
Mhm.
Pop-up Samoan drop from Mordos. Then he tries to powerbomb Knight, but he counters it into a DDT. Rush with the springboard start Knight. Andretti hit a running torch rack neckbreaker. Really cool.
Looked really running.
Yeah, it was really sweet. Beautiful. Ricochet does the Death Valley driver with some
Huge as
jump
well.
from the powerbomb.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Okay, oh my god. Oz cutter to Mordos after a botched double crane kick from Briscoe and Speedball.
The second one was botched.
Yeah.
I forget.
Well, because they did it at the same time, and Speedball didn't really
wasn't
hit it.
even there. Yeah.
Knight hits a crazy UFO splash to Morris for near hold pin, gets broken. My God, just a thing of beauty.
You almost are if he pulled out one where he goes one direction and back the other, you'd be yeah, sure,
you could do that.
Probably do that. He's crazy vertical. He's like him and Javon Evans. We have to have somehow.
Him and Javon
compete.
and even Montez with
yeah.
his frog splash and the Swanton 450
Yeah.
from Slater.
It's crazy.
Even Dante's got a pretty sweet. Dante Martin's got
Yeah,
a
he
pretty
does.
sweet vertical. Just Knight here, absolutely crazy. Just beautiful. That doesn't get it, but Ospreay hits a hidden blade to who else but Mordos.
Poor Motor. The mask does not protect him, I
It
guess.
does not.
Yeah, man, this was a really fun 8-man tag. Almost everyone, well, not almost everyone, a lot of guys in this match had a really good showing at Dynasty, so it's nice to find a way to follow up on that momentum for them, right? Yeah, man, Ricochet again, just kind of giving you that heel that everyone wants in there.
Yeah, he's just such a quality character.
A lot
in
of fun.
matches.
Didn't get a ton of time, but they got a lot done in that time.
Yeah.
Would have liked Mordos to cook a little bit more, but he's not a featured guy in this group.
A random multi-man tag with some random stakes,
good.
but as expected, really, really fun. Things really picked up towards the end. And when you look at the pool of talent here, you can't really complain. Everyone in ring is pretty good.
They are.
The results never in doubt. I'm hardly even surprised Mordos took the pin. Some might say I called it because I did.
Mm-hmm.
But the action was really great. It was a fun ride. A lot of cool stuff in the ladder stages. Too much to recap, but if you can find it, it's a really fun breeze of a match. Super entertaining. A lot of good moments. So just some light TV fun and the kind of stuff AEW does really
And
well.
a cool $100,000 for each guy that won.
I guess so, right? You get some easy money
Dax is gonna present the checks to them.
there. Yeah. I guess so, right? Then the Hurt Syndicate get their championship celebration after they retained, I guess.
That's true. It's just a way to get MJF out there, I guess. to
It's a
talk.
MacGuffin, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that word.
Yeah.
I love using that word properly too, since I do know what it means.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of in a lot of movie plots. Like it's the MacGuffin that blah blah blah.
It's the Family Guy thing.
Yeah.
Peter doing dumb shit is the MacGuffin for most things.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that you obviously won't get the reference, but for the next Avengers movie, that Loki at the end of the time is gonna be the MacGuffin to set up them fighting Doom, and I think it's a cool term
Yeah.
for like what it means, and I think it's one of those words. It's like diverticulitis for me. I think
It's fun to
MacGuffin
say.
is fun to say.
Yeah.
I think it's just a fun word. I get an enjoyment out of it.
I'm glad.
I like
Words are fun.
I like moist too. People don't like moist, and that's why I like it. And to me, like for people,
I used it today to describe ground turkey, and your mother said that you would have appreciated that.
Yeah, I like a natural use of the word moist. Sometimes I shoehorn it in just to piss people off.
Yeah.
But like to me, it's
Here we
like
go.
it's just because moist. It's like
think
slightly
we've
wet
said this
in
on
a
here
gross
before.
manner. I don't know if I've said it on air, but it's
I
like
think you have.
wet in an uncomfortable manner, right?
Yes.
And the sound of the word for some reason makes people uncomfortable.
It
I think
does.
because the way it means, but like the way the word sounds perfectly encapsulates what the word means.
Wow.
You know what
it's
I mean?
the perfect word.
It is though. That's why I like it so much, because the word it's the perfect companion to the definition. And I love making people uncomfortable with the word moist. It's one of my favorite hobbies.
20 people just turned off.
Yeah, after I said it like 10 times.
They pinpoint where everyone dropped off at an hour 35 into this.
Yeah, and just to show that I'm not mature yet, one of my other favorite words is chode. Anyways, MVP speaking, he said something about this being an announcement from them. Punk's jump up to get beat down. That's an announcement, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He said 2 more challengers stepped up. I guess they are both challengers, but isn't it like one more challenger since it's one team?
I think so.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
And they got beat down. They were gonna toast with champagne, but here comes Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Yep.
He comes out saying, he got in the ring and he said, "We hurt people, baby," like acting like he's on part of the team, which I thought was funny.
He's already in.
Kind of like Travis Scott when The Rock and John Cena.
They've never been mentioned since, so
That's the weird part, yeah, is that like Rock has not been mentioned. I mean, Cena's done well on his own. I'll give him that.
it's not quite like the Big E moment and then kind of not following through very well, but it's
I just think it's like
not their best work.
Even though we're deviating here for a second, I think it's interesting because I thought it was gonna be like him selling his soul to The Rock or whatever, but it was kind of like, I think the reason they ended up giving for his term was really awesome because I really loved that segment, but it ended up kind of being different from the whole Rock thing. Anyways, that was definitely weird. MJ said he couldn't have come at a better time. He said Tony Khan wanted him to be in the Owen Hart Cup, maybe teasing him for the wild card, although I don't think so. But he didn't want to wrestle every week, and he said now he gets to cut the line and get back what is rightfully his, the Triple B. He said he can help them keep their tag titles, and they can help him get the title back. And he asked if he had to sign a contract. MVP says they go way back, and the Syndicate knows how MVP feels about him. He said if he wants to join, they needs the 3 thumbs up. MVP gives his vote a thumbs up, but Shelton is a thumbs down. Lashley doesn't even need to do his because Shelton already rejected him. So MVP shrugs, they leave, and Max is frustrated.
I guess we got the visual of how they each feel about. We already know Lashley, right? So we get the other two, but I still don't quite get what's going on here. Is this a way of also letting us know? I think we kind of knew though that MVP isn't really in charge, right? And he's like, it's the same.
He's managing them.
It's
but
the same as if you actually hire a manager. Like I'm paying you to be my manager, so I get to tell you how things are.
Yeah, and so I like it because it creates a cool group in the dynamic in the group where they're not like they're having kind of a disagreement, but they're civil about it and they're still working.
Yes,
it out.
I do like that.
It's kind of like to me, obviously not the same dynamic, but it's kind of like how Blackpool used to operate before they were Death Riders, where that they would sometimes have matches against each other, or they wouldn't always be affiliated, but then they come back together. Like they have, not that their dynamic is the same as the Hurt Syndicate, but that they have their own dynamic that kind of makes them stand out from other groups. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I like that. And so it's kind of weird because I feel like it kind of gives us the payoff we already had, where that they didn't want him. So
And
like it felt like it kind of put us back there, but then later on we kind of go back to maybe him joining. So it's kind of weird. I thought we had money in Mega Heel and Jeff against Hangman, and it was too short lived. So it's weird to me.
Yeah, like I said before, I'm not sure what payoff we get that I really enjoy from
That's
this.
what we were
And
kind of
it's weird
saying.
because I love Hurt Syndicate. I like MJF, so
I think it was kind of like when we had the Callis Jericho storyline that we didn't love, where there's
Yeah.
like not really a payoff I'm looking forward to.
that's what we're at with this.
I don't think this one's as insufferable because, like you said, I love Hurt Syndicate and I love MJF.
Mhm.
I don't love Jericho.
That
That's the
is-
difference.
That's for sure.
But it's still that kind of point where it's like, what am I getting out of this?
Agree.
Like, what's the best case scenario?
And because AEW hasn't been on fire for me, it used to be like I just give them the benefit of the doubt, and I don't quite do that as much anymore.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt in certain cases, like Swerve and Hangman.
Yeah,
But I think on a general basis, yeah, I'm a little more cautious.
Me too.
For sure. Then we get Bane and Ford interview. I say Bane and Ford because Bane doesn't really talk. Ford talks about the loss of Dynasty changing nothing, and Tony Storm barely survived. The division will not move on because Bane won't let it. Bane will be on Collision. Bane said she'll make you bow down, and Ford said, see what you did. I thought it was lame because I thought Bane looked stupid having Ford do most of her speaking. I'm fine with her having a lackey, but like she should speak for herself and still like have some
I don't
authority.
think Ford sounded very good.
I don't think
either.
she sounded great either. But I also
And
think
I
it
thought-
makes Bane look weird.
Were you picking up on an accent?
I don't know.
I thought Ford was speaking with an accent, and then I just looked up. She's from Arizona, so that's not the accent I heard. So I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I don't think Ford is super qualified to be a mouthpiece for someone, and I really like Bane, and I want her to be cool.
I don't like it because I feel like we don't
So-
even know if Bane is someone that needs a mouthpiece.
or what even their relationship really is. There's
it's
a
like
lot
they were
lacking.
both feuding with Rosa, I think, at some like
Bane's
I don't-
got the look and looks like that she's good in ring, but nothing else. We keep saying it.
Yeah,
It's true.
it's tricky for
Yep.
sure. Speaking of Thunder Rosa, she's facing Chris Statlander next in the quarterfinals for the Owen Hart tourney. Basement dropkick against the ropes from Rosa knocks Statlander to the floor. Northern Light suplex for 2. I made a note. I hate Tony Storm on commentary so much.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna be preaching to the choir here, but
It was insufferable. Like, I'll touch on it here. It was just nonstop character shtick, which I get because she's in character, but like, it's that, like, a lot of in character lines, but then she's just beating me over the head relentlessly with double entendres and like these sexual innuendos. And it's like, for me, it's like if there's beating a dead horse, and then she's mercilessly like shooting the corpse with a shotgun over and over.
and it's sort of made worse by commentary laughing so hard at everything she says.
It's so insufferable. And like, I know people are gonna be over the moon for it and love it.
I don't hate it as much as you, but I don't like it.
There's a couple times where it's like fine and
If she had
slightly
a
amusing
couple
at
gems
first.
here and there, it would be funny. But when
But,
it's
like,
90%,
Exactly.
of
And
what
there's
she
the
says,
one line where I
It's
thought
not
it was
like
actually
we're very mature people who don't mind, who don't like innuendo.
Oh, I was telling you the one class in last period, my teacher says general words too many times and I start giggling.
Yeah,
But like, it's just too much for me. Like, at some point I feel like it's insulting my intelligence. And like, the funniest line I think was Excalibur saying that Storm was his favorite Tony to work with. Like, that was the funniest
was
thing
funny.
that
yeah,
was
I like
said to
that
me.
too. Actually,
And like you said, if Storm said a couple things, I think it's fine. But like, I feel like she's just, it's like a pillow fight, and it's like I get hit in the face, and every time I'm about to recover, she just hits me again and again and again and again, and I just, at some point, I'm just like enough.
she's kind of like Austin Powers. I don't know if you've seen any of those.
I watched a
but
bit of it. It wasn't really for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
and
like-
Austin Powers can't be the face of your company.
right? Like, it's just, I know people love it, but it's just too much. And this is not your world champion.
I know.
I can't. And it was just, at first it's fine, but then it just becomes too much. And I feel like that's a lot of the thing with hers. It's too much shtick for me. I just can't do it. And I feel like the double entendres especially have become too much of her shtick.
And we're starting to love Harley Cameron, but I wouldn't want her as the champion doing the ventriloquist gimmick nonstop.
No. I like her
Right? And that's
sparingly.
kinda
and
similar.
I think her ceiling is mid-card champion.
Like, she
at
joins
most.
commentary, but she talks through a puppet the whole time.
No.
You know, I'd be tired
I
of
like
that
her
too.
2-minute segments.
Yeah, me too.
Storm, I just can't. It really pisses me off sometimes. Like, it was just so insufferable. Blue Thunder Ball from Statlander for 2. Rosa hit a pretty nice destroyer for 2. Statlander hit Saturday Night Fever. She got the win. And I thought this was fine. Nothing special.
Rose is just kind of slow and bland.
I think Rose is kind of bland.
is the
I really like Statlander,
Me
so I
too.
thought this was below par for her.
right person won.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. Storm's commentary, I think, actually made this match less enjoyable for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't dock them too much because it's not their fault.
Stats impressive on
I really like
offense.
Statlander. I didn't
And
like Rose's
Rose's,
gear. Rose's
like,
ring gear was weird.
Clunky's too strong, but bland, I think, is
Kind of,
good.
yeah. And like I said, I'm sure many find Storm amusing, but it just, is for me, it's over and over. And to contrast the absolute the masterful nuance and subtlety of Hangman and Swerve,
Right.
there's just none of that with Storm.
No. She's
It's just
just
not there.
sledgehammer and they're a scalpel.
Exactly, right? It's just beat me over the head with Triple H's sledgehammer, right? It just can't. I'm glad Statlander won. So far, this tournament is going according to the outline.
And nothing
Talk
is
about
like
last week.
super impressive.
Then we get a Callis promo. Fletcher and Takeshita are in the background looking like studs. Callis talked about
Fletcher's
how
glasses were wacky.
yeah, they're gonna be the finals. Which if it was, I would not complain. I would be surprised.
Me too.
I would not complain.
No, not at all. There's no real like dud of a match in this tournament to be had.
I can't disagree unless the wild card is like a real dookie.
Right, which no.
I don't think so. Because if it's Darby, that's awesome. Cal said they're healthy young men, while other members of the Cal family are injured, so he's accepting new members. So send your resume, your picture, and your bank account number, because they're proving that the Cal family means you're on the way to the top. I love these guys. Takeshita and Fletcher didn't say anything, but they look like $1 million, and Cal speaks really well. And I hope they pick new guys carefully, because I think generally, like, the people they pick for Cal's group, we always like Takeshita, love him. Fletcher, love him. Davis, love him. Like, not all of them have major upside
But
like Fletcher and Takeshita, but we love
You've
them.
got
all,
main
right?
eventers there.
You got main eventers, and you got people we all like in the ring. Like Cage, love him. Archer, in the right scenario, I like him. Not
Tag
always
team,
love him.
Monster tag team.
Monster
fine.
tag. So the tag team I love. Hobbs, when he was there, we liked him.
Yes.
Guevara, when he was there briefly, I was
Who?
hopeful for that. But then they put him back with Jericho. But everyone they've picked to be in the Cal family, I do see the upside in.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they pick some people wisely. Josh Alexander.
That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be great.
I feel like you could do that. Based on the current roster pool, though, I'm not sure who you would pick. Like,
Me either.
hold on. I'm gonna go on the roster quick, just because I'm kind of curious as to expect who we could even get here. Like, I'm looking at an Alico. There we go.
So this is the kind of like this segment with Callis and the other two. This is the kind of nostalgia I like, because this felt like I was watching something older where you
Like
have
Heenan?
like a great heel manager who can talk with two just superstar looking people over his shoulder.
Yeah,
And I'm kind of a sucker for recruitment stuff.
yeah. I
Just
said,
the
they
little,
pick
like,
wisely. They
We're
could
looking to add people.
do some great stuff. Yeah.
Works for me.
I mean, I know if you were looking to replace a tag team, take FTR.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't necessarily need a mouthpiece, but if you want to bolster them as heels, I think that's a great play to do them.
They would work.
Because, like, obviously that would take out your tag team in Murder Machines, but they're gonna be out for a decent bit anyways. I feel like that's kind of Callis' whole point, and he's slimy. So if he does end up replacing people, like, he's done that before anyways. So does it really matter if he did? I mean, I don't know if you could do him as a heel, but I'm looking at Keith Lee. I don't know how he's doing health wise.
I got your answer. Blake Christian.
I mean, I would take it even if he's
Gives
the fall
you your
guy.
like high flyer.
I would be very happy with that, actually. No joke, I feel like that could work decently.
And he's not the best talker, so
I mean, I would be happy with that. I think that'd be cool. Like, Blake Christian's been really impressive. I would think he's kind of crazy. I don't know. I honestly feel like Crew would be a decent tag team to put in there.
yeah.
I think Crew would be kind of cool since Rush isn't going to join the Hurt Syndicate. I think I'd like to see Crew in there.
Roosh. Speaking of Rush,
Yeah, I mean, he's technically got a group of his own. I don't know what
does
they do.
he?
Okay, here.
They exist.
Side note, I'm looking on the roster page still. They have the Kingdom still here. They're still listed
Nope.
as Undisputed Kingdom. I guess that's probably their tag name now since they're not.
It's because
in
they
the
don't
Paragon.
care to update their stuff because they are inconsequential.
They updated Paragon, though, at least.
Right.
I don't know who else I'm looking at. I would honestly even put Guevara back in that group, probably. Or honestly, you could do Ricochet. I wouldn't hate
I
that.
kind of like him on his own.
I do like him on his own, but I honestly wouldn't hate him in there either. Other than that, I don't know. But I do like the Blake Christian idea, even though that's not going to happen.
No.
But yeah, so this was solid. Then we get an Undisputed Kingdom promo. O'Reilly said
Who?
that was before I knew.
Okay, that one's legit then.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would also call them Undisputed Era if I was gonna purposely misname them
True.
or dead name them or whatever. He said it's time to watch them collect moment after moment. Strong says it's about time they have their moment, so I guess teasing them in the tag division. Cole said excellence is about how you handle your failures. He said last 2 years were most challenging years of his life, no doubt. He's had a rough go. Now he's champion. So all honesty, I'm really happy for him because I've always been a huge fan of him, and he's definitely had a rough go.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad. It's just the start for the three of them, and they are the Paragon. That's undisputed.
Yeah.
I will not be calling them the Paragon. That's also the title of their new theme. I hope they change the song does not have a boom. There needs to be a boom. There should always be a boom.
Bring the boom.
We bring the boom. Wait, no. We do not bring the boom. We're not talking about them.
Redacted?
No, the Costco.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
But are we redacting
You want to
them?
redact them? Okay.
No, they're not that. That's for being dirtbags.
Yeah.
They're just
And these guys will always be
obnoxious.
undisputed era for me. But if this teasing them back in the tag division, I'm very happy with that.
Me too.
I love these guys. I've always
Cole's
been a huge fan of these guys.
Cole's your like tier below singles champion, and
He is singles champion.
no, but like tier below the like main.
He could go main event though, if they wanted to.
I think that era may be over for him.
Ha! Era.
But O'Reilly and Roddy as a tag team, if you're revitalizing that division, would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would.
I have new name. New name is fine. Means Kingdom is out.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would still like them as a trio, but
Yep.
I refuse to call them
But
the Paragon.
Trios belts don't exist. At least the tag
They
belts
they
exist.
just had a trios match that we liked.
I know, but that was once in a 6 months or whatever.
I mean, I guess. Then we get TV time with
My goodness.
Chris Jericho. He said he's no longer the ROH World Champion. I'm gonna take a drink. Give me one moment.
And then we get the sound of that top, which I love too.
I try my best not to let it catch, but it's tricky.
Screw the top off and drink it like a
No,
normal.
that's like why you get these bottles though. I could have gotten a
if
smaller
you're playing
one.
sports and you need to just squirt it into your mouth. But if you're
Okay,
sitting
I'll
and
do that then.
podcasting is not a sport.
It should be Olympic podcasting.
Mm.
Jericho credited Bandito for pulling it off and said after months of conflict with one of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time, Bandito won and saved his mask, yada, yada, yada. He calls out the other Learning Tree boys. He said he was hoping they'd all have titles right now, but they didn't win the tag titles at Dynasty.
And he lost his.
And Bill grabbed
Hooray.
the mic over to put over the microphone. He said he knows Jericho will say he's angry, and he says he has every right to be. He's been angry a lot as of late as well. Keith tried to stop him, but Bill said Chris needs to hear this. He says he's the utmost respect for him, and he's one of the most decorated performers in the history of pro wrestling. He said he joined Learning Tree because he wanted to learn from him. Weird. Sorry, I'm getting a call, and that distracted my face. He said he joined the Learning Tree because he wanted to learn from Jericho. There we go. We're back on track. But he didn't sign up to be a punching bag whenever things go wrong. He said if Jericho wants to teach, then he can teach. But if he wants to yell at them, they can leave. And he knows Keith feels the same way. Jericho said that's not why he brought them out here. He said he believed in them and he cared about them. And that's why he handpicked them. He said they're future world champions. That's hilarious to me. If Calla said that when he's standing by
Ring of Honor tag team
Takeshita.
champions, are they world?
Yeah, I guess. And that's why their victories are his victories and their failures as well. He said he lost our which world title and Big Bill wasn't there. Some might say that was Bill's fault. He's not saying that. He's not angry. He's disappointed. He says that a bunch of times while hitting the TV screen and smashing it. He said he was effing disappointed, which they censored. And until he changed that, it's best that he leaves.
Yeah. So yeah, the splintering of a group that I don't really want. So, and I feel like the point of this is Big Bill's going to be focused on based on like what we said about the pay-per-view match and then this here, right? And I'm fine with Bill and Keith being liberated from Jericho.
I agree.
But the angle of them getting to that point, I don't really care about either.
I mean, I said it sounds kind of mean, but like if it means Jericho leaves, they can keep losing.
Yeah, I agree.
I did not care for Jericho in the beginning with his usual shtick. I thought Big Bill sounded really good though and was kind of right. They haven't gone squat this whole time, so he had a point, and I thought he sounded good. Like I think Big Bill's looked pretty good this year, and in this angle.
How
Jericho
about
saying
Big Bill and Callis family?
I would take that. I think that's
Although
good.
I think he's going babyface here.
Yeah, but you could always just put him there eventually.
Mhm.
I'd like Big Bill, like I said. Jericho saying he doesn't have to help anyone if he doesn't want to felt a little too real for me. Like I was like, you don't say.
Speaking the truth.
Right? But I hope this means this is over soon. The whole crash that Jericho had was fine, but it wasn't a lot of drama for me because I don't care about him.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for them to split for a while.
Me too.
Probably since they started. Yep.
Basically.
Hurts in an interview. Lashley said MJF's not to be trusted. He doesn't like MJF, and he's not to be trusted. Benjamin said they don't need anybody but little George Costanza is kind of funny. He walked in to tell Alicia to the interviewer to get her skank ass out of there. That's funny because that's his actual girlfriend. So that made me giggle for sure. And I think that works because like it's either and it's funny, and if you don't, it's typical girlfriend. MJF. Work yourself into a shoot.
Yeah.
And you don't even know it's a work or whatever the phrase is. I don't know. It's too funny for me. He walked in MVP asking why he gets treated like a punk bitch. He said they know exactly who he is, and MVP said that's his problem. He said this is business, so you gotta get your consumer and find out what they want, and you give it to them.
Yeah, so are they hinting that Shelton's not on board with Lashley here? I don't know if I was picking up that, but it's a very slow burn again, which I generally quite like, but don't know where it's going. Don't see where it's going that I'm going to enjoy. So slow burn for what, as the kids would say.
I said, I thought the case was closed before, so I was kind of confused as like it seems like we're keeping it open, and I don't know why MJF wants to be with them so bad.
It's like we're opening and closing and opening and closing it.
I agree, and it feels like we're teasing a change in MJF that I don't think we need
or want. Yes.
Agree. Jericho crashes out again as he leaves the arena. Then we get the ops.
Yeah.
Not Jericho. Joe and Hook. Jesus Christ, against Death Riders are just Claudio and
you say you like wrestling. You don't even know
English
who.
hard.
Yeah.
English hard. Yuta went for a diamond crossbody. Hook sidesteps it, kind of like the nonchalant dodge as
he's learning.
It usually is. And he follows with 3 consecutive German suplexes. Hook hits Claudio with an exploder suplex into the corner. Powerbomb clothesline from the Death Riders to Hook for 2. Mox distracts the ref, which I think was Pac's spot. Yuta gouges Hook's eyes to escape Red Rum. Shibata chokes Mox on the floor. Joe chokes Claudio on the floor as well. Hook submits Yuta in the ring with Red Rum for the win. After the match, Shiv hits Joe in the knee with a chair. Death Riders beat the Ops down. Neutralizer on the underside of a seated chair to Hook, which looked pretty gnarly.
Had to be perfect without the legs are going to puncture him otherwise.
He says Death Riders are cowards. Sorry, Joe gets on the mic. He says Death Riders are cowards and he came for a fight. They're acting like dick riders right now. He challenges them to a match and says they're coming for the trios titles.
Yeah, I thought the match was good, but not great. I'm just kind of, as you know, tired of the Death Rider shtick. And no offense to Joe, I love Joe, but the Ops are not. They're not a super faction right now. It's sure for trios because the trios titles are pretty insignificant. So I think they're fine for that, I guess. But it didn't feel like an important main event to me. The neutralizer on the chair was the highlight of this for me, I thought.
Yeah, but the post-match spot was gnarly. Not overly throwing as a main event, but a fine match. And like the action was solid, and I guess it's setting up a trios title match, but I wonder what the deal will be if Pac is out. Like, is Mox going to substitute, or are we going to get a different surrogate defender? I don't know. It's interesting. Like, solid trios feud may be coming, but the match itself here was like just fine.
Yeah,
but maybe we're prolonging this if Hook is getting taken out, or maybe Joe's the next challenge for Moxley.
Maybe
because Hook is taken out. I guess I don't know.
Could be.
But he did say they're coming for the trios title.
He did, so it looks like that's the reason.
I don't know.
Overall, didn't love this episode. I really liked the 8-man tag and Hangman's bit. But like other matches, not their fault, but Pac Swerve could have been awesome cut short, so that's disappointing. Thought the opener was ordinary. Thought the women's match was not great. Sorry, was there a women's match?
Yeah, Rosa.
Oh, yeah, like, again, not super awesome, and the main event was a little underwhelming too, so it didn't quite get into the B range. I liked the Callis stuff, but that was just a tiny little part of it, right? So the stuff I really liked was like a tiny little segment here, a tiny segment there, and an 8-man tag. So a C+ for me this week.
That's fair. Yeah, the matches, I think, other than the 8-man tag, were fine, but the 8-man tag was really fun. The Swerve Hangman stuff is super interesting. I thought the Buck stuff was solid as well. Callis I liked. I really enjoyed the little Mark Briscoe segment. And yeah, like I thought Undisputed Kingdom was solid. Jericho was fine, actually, like not bad. So I guess that's a bit of an up. I was a little more up on this, so I'm gonna go with a B-, a little lower.
Yeah, I thought you might go higher than me. All right, let's take a break from the analysis, get into some trivia, challenge you with some. It'll be Mania related. I don't know if we've gone down this path before. It doesn't matter. Don't care. It's new to me. It's off the top of his head. This week's Mania-related topic is worst Mania matches ever. I went top 15.
I don't know if we've done that.
Asked an AI engine. I feel like it gives me, I can give you a year and a type of match if there is, and it gives a tiny description too that I can use for hints. So let's go number 15 first. I'll tell you the event to start and see if you can get it from there. WrestleMania 37, which they're saying is 2021. It seems like AI's gotten more reliable.
It is.
So steel cage match.
That is honestly the match I thought it would be. Is Shane and Braun.
I probably shouldn't have even said steel cage and you would have guessed it, right?
I might have.
So they're highlighting Braun ripping the cage, which was ridiculously bad. Played into the finish. I don't remember.
I barely even remember this match.
And they're saying Shane had some cartoonish bumping, which
Probably.
sounds fair too, right? Okay. WrestleMania 26. Had to do my Roman numerals there. Pretty quick. Revenge match gone way too long.
Oh, Brett and Vince.
Correct.
I've heard that match is horrible because Brett can't wrestle.
Says Brett limited from a stroke, mostly just beat up Vince in slow motion.
Yeah.
Overbooked and overkill. That's funny.
It's a Vince match.
WrestleMania 5, 1989.
Ooh.
That's
blindfold match?
No.
Is that not-
More comedy than wrestling. Ugly, slow, completely forgettable in a stacked era of tag team wrestling.
Oh, is it the Japanese guys?
Nope. Canadian guys against New Zealand guys?
Heart Foundation?
Question mark? No. French Canadian guys.
Quebecers?
Rougeos.
Okay. And I don't know
New
if it's
Zealand?
New Zealand.
Bushwhackers.
I
I think they're
makes
New
sense.
Zealand.
They are. I think you're
Right?
right.
All right. This is more in your wheelhouse for sure. WrestleMania 33.
WrestleMania 33.
Yes. Meant to be.
Orton and Wyatt.
No. Meant to be a passing the torch moment.
Oh, Roman and Taker.
But Undertaker looked painfully out of
I heard
shape.
it was pretty bad. Yeah.
A slow, sad outing. All right. WrestleMania 28.
That's
As soon as I give you
2012.
the hint, you'll know.
2012, I think.
Yes.
Oh, I don't.
Launched a movement.
Oh, right, Brian and Sheamus.
Yeah, because I was going to say
I don't think
just
it's like a
18
bad
seconds.
match. I think it's a bad moment because like
Yeah.
the match, it's like it really is
18 seconds.
Yeah.
It's not a match. Okay. WrestleMania 27. Celebrity.
27. Oh, is it the Snooki one?
Yes. So Snooki and
So it's Snooki, Trish, and Jomo. Isn't it against? I think it's Ziggler and Lay Cool. Right?
they didn't even conclude Jomo. It just says Snooki, Trish, but yeah, Lay Cool and Ziggler.
It is Jomo.
Snooki actually did okay, which I actually thought she did too. But WrestleMania 28. So this one, did you already? No, you didn't mention. I don't
we did
think.
go to 28 already. I just didn't mention the match. Maybe.
Surprise match. Surprise competitor in the match.
Is it that Teddy Long John Laurinaitis tag?
John Laurinaitis. It's saying yes.
Cena.
Yes.
That is not.
Is that right?
That match did happen, not that show, because that's the scene. That's the show with Once in a Lifetime.
Oh, awesome. That happened twice in a lifetime. WrestleMania 33.
Orton and Wyatt.
Correct.
Kind of had to be.
Yes. Haunted by weird insect projections on the ring mat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. WrestleMania 19.
Oof.
Not awful in the ring, but heavily criticized for its racially charged build.
Triple H and Booker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's the one part where he gets a pedigree and takes like 23 seconds or something to pin him.
Wow.
Like
Oh,
to get
poor
to the pin.
Booker.
Yeah, like Booker got hosed.
Yeah.
That's one of those infamous ones for sure.
I don't remember this. WrestleMania 25. Lots of people. I'll say
Money in
that.
the Bank.
No.
Playboy Pillow Fight.
No. Battle Royal.
I don't know.
Miss WrestleMania.
Oh, that sounds right.
Santino won.
Oh, I was thinking the wrong year.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That is a thing.
WrestleMania 23. Oh, wow. This sounds terrible just by the two people in it. Plodding is the word they use.
Oh. It's not Lashley and Umaga, right?
Nope. One of the probably worst wrestlers ever, I think.
Khali.
Yeah, correct. Versus who might he plod with?
Kane.
Correct.
That's
Very good.
no way they would put that on Mania.
WrestleMania 21.
Okay, this is what I was thinking when you said 25, because I thought 2005, and so my brain made an error.
So what is it?
20. I don't know what was bad on this
If
show.
as soon as I give you a hint, you'll know.
Probably. I can't think
It
of
was a
anything else.
shoot fight, kinda.
Oh, wait, the sumo match?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Akabono, big show.
Forgot about that.
Number 3, I think this is fair. WrestleMania 20.
Goldberg and Lesnar.
Correct.
That's notoriously bad.
I knew you'd get there. This one I think is fair too. WrestleMania 27.
Miz and Cena.
No.
Lawler and
Yes.
Michael Cole. Yeah. Okay.
And finally,
That's
I
one of the worst
believe
Manias.
this is fair as well. Number 1, WrestleMania 9.
Gonzalez and Taker.
That's
That's a
correct.
pretty notorious about. The
Yeah.
chloroform rag, dude.
Man, the AI stuff's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, they're
Way
still
fewer
not
mistakes.
perfect, but like definitely better. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, wraps up trivia. Final segment this week. I believe we're going to talk about other stuff. I'm going to quickly run through Raw and NXT, notable stuff from there, what we call high spots and rest holds. Raw started out with, what is he, general manager Adam Pearce, I guess, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce. He is in the ring. He officially, bottom line, I'm going to go quickly through this stuff, makes the women's triple threat official for the title at WrestleMania. Io again gets disrespected, ends up missile drop kicking one of the other, I think it was Ripley, into Bianca.
Yeah.
Right. Belair, in her speaking, made some valid points. She's basically like, I earned my shot. I won, what was it, Elimination Chamber?
Yeah, it was a chamber.
And Ripley's just sort of being handed these opportunities because the story was like, oh, she had a rematch and just never asked for it. Like, first of all, I didn't think the rematches were a thing. I guess they case by case that, right?
Yeah.
It seems. Yeah, so I guess Bianca's the full heel here
Doesn't make sense to me.
because she's all black, wearing all black now and saying mean things, even though I think she's kind of right. But
Drew McIntyre.
really similar to the last 2 segments, at least involving these 3. It's it's kind of, at first I kind of liked it, right? Because it's like they're overlooking Io and Io's pissed, but then after they do it every week and keep just shoving her sometimes literally to the side, that's
Then
the
it's
champion.
kind of, yeah. It only
And I
works
don't
to a
think they're
certain
booking
point.
Io to win,
I don't think so.
so kind of sucks for her. But anyways, Lyra Valkyria retained the Intercontinental title 13-minute match with Bayley. Bayley got a lot in this, targeted Lyra's back. There were "this is awesome" chants, and Cole told us this was an instant classic, I think, right at the end. I don't agree. I thought it was good, but not great.
Yeah, I did see he said that, and I was like, that always feels kind of forced.
It does. You're right. That's exactly what it is. So Lyra escaped the Rose Plant, won with like a jackknife pinfall.
I saw that because Bailey had a submission in, and then she released it because I guess it wasn't working. That's
Like,
what they said, but like it still
she's,
feels weird.
She's oh my God, Sabre. She only holds it for 6 seconds or
I
whatever.
guess so, right?
And then-
But then she just goes for a move instead of a submission. I
And so
guess.
again, what I was referring to before, Bailey almost doesn't shake hands with her after, right? But then does and raises Lyra's hand. So
tag
partners, can they coexist? That's a fresh storyline to go
I
with.
guess, right?
right?
Like
I
for
think that's it.
Mania. Like, come on.
A comedian I've never heard of is in a segment with Chad Gable.
It's because he's doing. Is it Tony Hinchcliffe or is it
No, the other one. He
Bert-
was later.
Bert?
Sure.
Whatever, the chubby, like he's really
Harbinson.
round.
Yes.
That guy. Yeah.
He ends
okay.
up ripping his shirt off with.
He's the
Otis.
guy. Yeah.
So Gable interacts with him and is like, oh, you came here to see me. And then he's like, I don't know how to tell you this. I didn't come here to see you. And then Otis comes
Yeah.
and they rip shirts off because they're
Apparently,
chubby.
Tony Hinchcliffe guy, his appearance did not go over well.
He was there on commentary. I
Yeah.
didn't enjoy him.
And then, because he's doing that roast of WrestleMania.
He's very sticky,
thing.
feels
Yeah,
like to me.
He's doing that roast of WrestleMania. I think it's the week of. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Great. AJ and Karrion Kross backstage. Because I think AJ's talking about what he's going to do to Logan Paul at WrestleMania. And Kross comes out and it's like, we want the real AJ or something. And AJ's kind of like, I'm tired of you and let's have a match next week. And then it's kind of like Kross is like, I think it's working or something like that. So whatever their plan
I've
is.
seen some people like calling for him to be added to the match. That feels
No,
odd.
I don't think so.
I haven't heard
He
great
can
things.
face Orton.
I mean, I guess copy his hair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's commitment then. Back to bald.
He literally just said he wouldn't do the shave angle unless there's like a story for it.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I haven't heard the greatest things about the build for Paul and Styles. Like in
It's
terms of
been
depth
very
and,
like
bare
basic,
thin, yeah.
basic, not a lot of thought. It's kind of like, we just want you guys to have a match together. Let's figure it out.
Reverse engineering it from wanting to.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's how you do all.
You do,
feuds,
but you
like,
put more. It's like we're spending all our time and energy in other stuff. This is paint by numbers, I think.
It's like a lazy reverse engineering, we'll say then.
Yes. Creeds and El Grande Americano.
Yeah, good for him for filling in for Chad Gable.
I know, it's nice of him to fill in. Gable's been under the weather.
Teaming in with like the foreign American guys too, though, like because and he hasn't really teamed with these guys before, so it must be tough to just like kind of adjust to that.
So they beat LWO. It was a loaded mask, Ivy Nile, hands, Americano, whatever it is.
He's even running plays with them already. It's like he's got a rapport with them.
He does. They're
it's
very
almost as if they've
sync.
worked together before. Like it feels that they're that in sync. Right?
Very fun match, honestly. LWO fly around, diving all over the place, and then American Made did like triple suplexes. I think you had the shooting star from Julius that looks cool. Very fun match.
The Lesnar-esque one.
Got 11 minutes. And then later in the show, we talked about a Mysterio Americano. Americano for his very brief period.
Already on Mania.
Gets a big match.
And it's on Rusev Day, too.
And is on Rusev Day. So, it was a fun match, and it's furthering a story that I'm kind of interested in. And Ray Americano is a fresh matchup, right? So it should be good.
Yeah, that's an interesting matchup for sure.
Americano is shredded right now.
Yeah.
I mean, not right now. We haven't known him for long. He's shredded.
He's been shredded. Yeah, I mean, he got in that WWE
stint we've known him.
I've never seen him wrestle a singles match before, so it'll be interesting for me to see that.
Very looking forward to the lucha style.
Yeah, I've never seen him wrestle, so I'm just interested to see him for the first time.
Jey Uso isn't afraid of Gunther anymore.
I saw he went
Do you have a mom? Do you have a mom, Gunther?
I don't have a mom.
And it was basically like, my mom's disappointed in me for letting that happen to my brother and not being
I saw that he went like Dark Trick Williams, and I meant to ask how you felt about that, since you actually like he didn't do the yeet thing and he just kind of came out on normal-ish.
He did, and it was good. Like, so this is the thing. Like I
saw him trying to quiet down the crowd a lot.
So yes, that's what I'm like. It's a fine promo, but the guy is trying to create drama, and he's not doing a bad job in this promo. But and the crowd keeps doing the you thing, and he's like
doing the shtick for too long.
But I think because he was going like this, they were interpreting it as
they could have been
doing the yeet thing.
But I think they also just like to do it too much.
They do, and so it kind of is tough.
So I did see bits of it. I will say I still don't think he's amazing. I think he was solid.
He was.
I do think it's still proves my point that he's leagues better when he's not a goofball, because I think he actually had some character to him. At least had some like genuine, like, no, authenticity is the word.
I didn't like that Gunther didn't even say a word.
That is kind of lame, but in terms of Jey, this is miles better than the usual shtick.
Yeah, it's the thing, like, he's motivated now because the beatdown of his brother by Gunther last week was awesome. So now Jay's motivated and not, I don't know why he wouldn't be afraid now. Like, I don't know. He just watched something terrifying, so he's less afraid of Gunther. But anyways, it was better than usual, but still the build hasn't done much for me. Natalia's not thrilled. She's teaming up with Maxine Dupree for a tag gauntlet, and I don't think either of them should be thrilled about tagging with the other. That's just me. New Day War Raiders tag title match ends in a DQ after 9 minutes. Ivar, I think Woods brings a chair. Ivar takes it from him, hits him in the midsection.
I did see that, yeah. Because he thought the ref was still distracted, I guess.
Yeah, but the ref saw it, DQs the Raiders. Solid match, and a DQ finish to extend. I'm guessing this is a Mania match.
It is, yeah. We talked about that.
So I wish the belts were a bit more prestigious because this match could be good, but WWE and tag teams. Well, North American Wrestling and tag teams. No, that's not true.
AEW's getting there.
NXT crushes tag teams a lot.
Only when they step up.
That's right. Penta beat Dom in 8 minutes with the Penta driver. Carlito, of course, gets involved. We get a destroyer and a 619 by Dom, but knees up on the frog splash. Finishing sequence for Penta. Heels attack Penta after. Braun comes down. Go ahead.
Oh my god. Like the spear he hit is
Carlito,
crazy.
right?
It's like, yeah, he runs down the ramp and spears Carlito. And it's like I was saying to you, because Lashley and Moose do their spear where like they'll rotate midair as they're hitting it. But he did it so that like he's like coming, he managed to like fully check him and deck him, and then somehow still have time to like, it's like he pauses in air and decks him and then flips.
Makes crazy impact, stops in midair, turns over and lands.
Like it's, especially if you see the fan cam footage from like the side, it is a sight to behold. Like
he is an explosive dude.
He's a freak.
So Balor then attacks Braun from behind, holds up the title, so we know he can't win it.
I feel like Breaker wins, but
escapes before Braun could spear him. I don't.
I feel like it's Breaker. I guess Penta?
No.
Balor?
No.
Dom?
Yes.
Really?
Okay, so let's think.
Sure.
I think they want to free up Breaker.
I agree.
Because
I don't think they want to tie on Penta, because I feel like they're going to do the tag run with Lucha Bros after the draft.
Also, Penta doesn't need it.
No.
Dom with that title.
And that could facilitate the split of the Judgment Day.
Correct.
I see it, yeah.
And a singles feud with babyface Balor.
Oddly, though, I hope it's Balor because I just want him to have something,
I think it's
man.
Dom.
I could see Balor beating Dom for the belt.
My certainty score might be high on that.
Dom could
there you go, babyface chases.
That's fine.
Because Dom is a really good heel. People hate him. He's not Eddie Guerrero in the ring, but he's not bad.
No, he's not bad at all. And you could do cheating spots with him.
And just him with that belt and Liv.
I agree. And you could have him with the belt for a couple months, and I think you could have him. I say you have Balor. Like, so you have them have a singles feud coming out of this, right? And I would say Judgment Day should stick with Dom to make it like a heel group for him. And obviously, I think Dom being the main guy puts them down the card a bit, but that's fine.
They've been on that
trajectory
decline
anyways.
A little bit,
I think then Dom has like it's Balor against his heel group, and I think McDonough could help him out if he comes back. Right, like McDonough could be Balor's kind of
and returning from that injury and the whatever the street cred he picked up, you could bring him back face.
I agree. And then with Balor, I think you could have him trying to beat Dom and get revenge because Dom's been trying to recruit new people too, right? I think if you want to bolster the ranks, you could recruit blank or blank.
Somebody.
I want to say Rusev, but I feel like that doesn't make sense. But I could see it happening.
Well, didn't we say that it could be Aleister Black too? They made reference to stuff.
I don't think so anymore. I feel like he's going on SmackDown based on the vignettes. But anyways, Dom could recruit a couple new people. And anyways, it's Balor against the heel group. And because of all the interference and shenanigans, whatever, he can't beat Dom. He could lose once, twice, right? And then maybe at SummerSlam or something major, he brings out the Demon again.
Yeah.
We make the Demon cool again.
That would be nice because it was so cool in Japan and when it first came here.
And then Demon Balor can take the belt from Dom. And then I think if Dom uses shenanigans, he can prolong his belt. Because I don't think he needs to hold it for a while, but he could hold it for a few months, and then Balor could take it and actually maybe do something finally.
I think, and I think a Dom singles mid-card title run is where he's at right now.
And I think that's how you test the waters of him as champion. Because I know he had the North American run, but I feel like that was testing him for like this. Because he hasn't had a main title in the main roster.
Kids come a long way, man.
Right? So I think you could do that. I could see the vision for sure.
Yep. Main event was a segment. It's Rollins and Heyman in the ring. Heyman out by himself at first. I thought this was really well done. Heyman's out there saying, like, obviously rocking a hard place. He's loyal to Punk. He's loyal to Reigns. He'll never betray either of them. And then Rollins comes out. And Rollins takes the time to
I've seen everyone point out how many times Heyman's betrayed someone. It's so funny.
And then Rollins comes out. At first, he talks about Roman Reigns, right? That basically Reigns disappeared after WrestleMania last year, left Heyman with Solo Sikoa, which did obviously not go well, right? And where was Reigns for all of that stuff? And then he says Reigns left Heyman to get massacred in his hometown in front of his children, that Heyman's kids had to watch their dad get put through a table since Reigns wasn't there and neither was Punk. Then he sort of turns his attention to Punk and talks about Punk walking out on WWE and Heyman as well 10 years ago. And that Punk wasn't the first choice on Team Roman in War Games because Rollins was. And Punk knew he could use that to get a favor out of Heyman. That Punk is not Heyman's best friend because Punk loves nobody but himself.
Yep.
Heyman should remove himself from the match entirely. And then I liked it because the tone sort of shifts and Rollins is basically like, it'd be a boot and a kick to the head. Like one stomp and it's over. Like I could easily remove you from this, like getting menacing. I think he even shoves Heyman at one point. And that's enough. Punk comes down. He is there to brawl with Rollins. Rollins ends up getting the better of him, stomping Punk, teases stomping Paul Heyman, but doesn't. And then you can hear him tell Paul Heyman that he owes Rollins a favor now. So,
which I think is interesting. I feel like that has to be something later because you could argue that's just mind games, but I wonder if it'll actually end up being something.
I think, and this is rooting.
Does Heyman join Rollins and Rollins turns heel? Rollins maybe wins?
Heyman screws over both of them because Rollins made really good points here.
And then we could finally get like a mega heel Rollins again.
You get heel Rollins with Heyman.
Oh, I love
Rollins doesn't need a mouthpiece, but...
Neither does Roman.
Correct. Neither does Punk.
Neither does Punk.
So I think that's where this is going.
I love that.
And really Rollins gets a huge win at Mania.
And we give Rollins the big push. I think then, hear me out, give Jey Uso a bit of a title run because we know what's happening. We know we have to do it. Then Rollins beats him for the belt.
And then Rollins could have like a heel back around. Run. You long-term book, I'm not saying it's what we want, but you long-term book Punk to have a title match at Mania next year and win in a main event.
I think
and
so.
then he's happy with his whatever.
I think so.
He can be like, I main event in 2 years
Got
in a
another
row
world
and
title.
won.
Yeah.
Right.
I could see
So
that, yeah.
I
I am all
think
for a Heyman Guy Rollins run.
that's what I'm leaning
And we
into-
could drop the
leaning
visionary
towards.
thing finally
Correct.
and like go back to kind of the architect thing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
And
what
I
I
thought
want to
Rollins
see.
did a good job of here of like sowing those seeds of doubt for he has a reasonable case for each of the
I could see that,
Heyman's
yeah. And
people.
I think it's also part of it is dropping the freaking from his name. He's not
Yes.
a goof
Yes.
anymore.
And when he's more serious and stuff, the outfits don't really bother me either. But when it's that whole
Because
package
it's like-
together, it's too much.
You can make it come across as some thing like that because like MJF's worn crazy suits like the American
Yes.
students, but it's not like making him a goof or whatever. It's like some flamboyant or like showy
Yeah.
thingy. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And so that it can work like that, but when Rollins is too silly
bugs
on the
me.
one side, yeah, for
No,
sure.
I'm hoping that's what happens. All right, NXT. Jada Parker, Jordan Grace fought to a no contest. Jada missed a hypnotic. Grace kind of botched a dive, unfortunately. And then Jada and Vaquer getting physical, and I think it was outside the ring. Ref calls the match. Better than Vaquer Parker, which I didn't really care for, right? But so they're brawling after the match. I thought the match was solid.
Mhm.
Julia comes down, which I thought was she's back quickly. And B, she headbutts Vaquer and hits the Northern Lights bomb to her. So it's kind of like she's back really quickly. And at this point, you're like, is she a heel? Which I don't know for sure. But she does call for the rematch later, right?
Yeah, I think it's the title, so no.
I think
friends,
that's
I
it.
guess.
I cannot confirm she's a heel, but it's more like I'll do whatever to get the title. And maybe she is a heel.
Yeah.
And I'm fine. It doesn't matter to me. They do that little spotlight segment. It's the culling this week. Sean Spears for a heel is very, very okay with losing the North American title. He's kind of
I
like,
think it's just because like they don't want him to go back for it, so like
I agree.
We got to engineer a way for him to
I
not
agree.
call for his rematch.
And this is a heel faction. It's all love. And he's like, I'm just here to motivate you people and elevate you guys. And
Luring Tree, I guess. I don't know.
so, yeah.
Is he like Luring Tree crosses Death Riders?
And I think he's delivering it well. And I told you I like this as a mid card, whatever. It kind of is like that a little bit. But yeah, felt weird for heels. But I think they're just like, okay, it's off of him. Let's go with this group.
Let's just keep him away from Stark.
Because everybody else is in a match for them this week. Dude, I told you, Swipe Right is kind of good.
I was telling you, apparently my friend from the States knows, I think the blonde one, and he helped him wrestle.
They had probably a 5 or 6 minute match with Fraxium, but they have something. Their gimmick, I think, is very timely. They even have a gesture to go with it, right? Like the Swipe Right thing.
I need to check them out then, because I didn't see
They are hateable.
I didn't see anything from them.
And they move pretty well. I thought the blonde kid, who I guess is 20.
Yeah.
Like
that would make sense, because I think that's how old my friend is.
I didn't see any errors. I thought he actually sold pretty well. So I was like, huh. If you want to know the truth, more impressed with them than Dark State.
That's crazy.
Right? For me
I should
personally.
tell my friend.
So I would say go check that out. It's
Yeah,
5, 6 minutes,
Yeah,
whatever.
I could probably find it just on Netflix, right?
Saul Ruka beat Jasmine Nix in the North American ladder qualifier for Stand and Deliver. Soul Snatcher won it. It was obviously quick. And because earlier in a segment, Fatal Influence, and I literally typed that and then sat there and went, is that the right name for them? Or are they the other ones? But that's right?
Sorry.
It is Fatal Influence,
It
right?
is, yes.
Not Toxic Attraction.
It is, yes.
So they were in a segment earlier arguing about, because Henley just assumed she'd be the one getting another shot. Jane's like, no, you botched the last attempt. You're not getting it. It's me. And then Nyx is just like, nope, it's me. Like, so either Nyx just said it last, so it counted, or she already knew. I don't know. But anyways, Nico and Jensen beat Hank and Tank in 3 minutes. So again, Hank went up for a swanton because, they're getting advice from people like the Hardys.
Yeah.
So that led to the finish. So Hank and Tank's woes continues. The culling pick up a win. And later in the show, the Street Profits are the most recent tag team veterans to give advice. And they just tell Hank and Tank to be themselves. And I assume that's the advice that's going to work,
That's
right?
going to stick,
Which is kind of a lame payoff.
Are we building to them, like, are they going to be Fraxium?
Somebody has to at some point.
No, they don't.
I guess not, but I don't know. Bring Swipe Right in and have them,
If they had just signed Alexander, it wouldn't be a problem.
That's right. So Ricky Saints has all kinds of challengers coming after him.
For a multi-man segment, I thought it was weird how many heels were
Lex is king.
there.
Eddie Thorpe, Wesley, all of them, right, weren't basically claiming that they want the title. Thorpe's thing was interesting. Did you hear his reason as for why he's dropping down to the North American?
No. Oh, was it something with his people?
This was the land that
North
specifically was taken
Yeah.
from his people. So I kind of thought that was.
I mean, honestly, might as well tap into that in any
I
way
think
you
so
can,
too.
right?
I think so too. And what was it? Ethan Page shows up to attack Saints from behind, right? So
With
I
his
do like
finisher,
that.
which is called
Don't know. Don't remember.
Twisted Grin. I remember this
That's right.
time.
You forgot it last time.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I do like that there's a whole bunch of people that want titles because that's realistic. Is this another multi-man match? I feel like there's a ton of
I
these.
don't think so because
I don't
there's
either.
too many heels.
So I'm wondering if what's going on here.
I feel like you have all of them in like maybe a battle royal,
I guess.
and you could
Yeah.
sprinkle in some more baby faces, and
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day it's gonna be ego,
That's okay. Yeah, you're
Right?
right. Because otherwise it's 4 heels.
right? Like, and
Yeah,
I
that's a lot.
like I don't think you always have to follow dynamics, but I feel like having
That's
that many
too far
heels
the
to
other
be
way.
right. I feel like at the end of the day, if you're gonna lean more one way, you should have more baby faces because then if there's so many heels, there's less like not as much to root for, which is why you don't see
Yeah.
heels on heel matches.
That's right.
because you always need someone to cheer for.
Wesley beat Inamura. I forget his first name.
Yoshiki.
Cardiac kick after 4 minutes. It was Inamura was going up top for probably his splash, and I think it was Igwe got on the apron, and Briggs sort of knocked him off, but it hit the ropes inadvertently, which knocked Inamura off the top, leading to the finish. Too short of a match to really feel strongly about. It's like we're back to like 4 minutes, 5 minutes stuff. So I can't dissect that much. Izzy Dame beat Red Sinclair to qualify for the ladder match, and that was under 5 minutes. I told you saw the weird finish.
Yeah.
So I think what happened because Dempsey's there. Who else would be there? with him?
Bourne and Tavion.
Yes, and who else for Dempsey's crew?
That's it.
And and then also there's more people with Izzy too, right? I assume.
Yeah, I guess it would be.
Anyways, lots of
Spears,
people at
Brooks, or
ringside.
Nico.
So I think when she hits, what was it, a sit-out power bomb, that somebody smacked the apron, like one of the other people there, but it ended up being in perfect cadence with the referee.
So that it would look like a 3 count.
So
yeah.
Dame thought that was 1, and the refs 1, 2 were 2, 3. So she gives up the pinfall before the 3 count, but the match is over. So a bit awkward, but fine. Then we get cut to the women arguing backstage because all they do is sit around in the locker room and sort of be mean to each other and stuff. So they're arguing over who wants the last chance qualifier because they've done that before. And Ava's there to say they're not doing it this year. Roxy says Ava better figure something out. Ava says she has an idea for stand and deliver. Roxy says it better not be a tag match because she doesn't have a partner, because it was Lash and Jakara and don't even know who else was back there. But anyway, so I don't know where that's going. Don't really care. It looks like they're just trying to get a bunch of women on the card, right?
Probably,
for stand
yeah.
and deliver.
They tend to do that.
Dark State main event. They beat Trick, Evans, and Oba in a 13-minute main event. The story was, right, the faces don't want to work together and are like reluctant to tag out and whatnot, and the heels are a cohesive unit. Oba and Trick do end up coming to blows near the end of this, so Trick gets knocked off the rope, and it was Evans taking the shield bomb or Trick?
It was Evans.
It was Evans, right? I wrote Trick, and I'm pretty
Trick
sure.
and Oba brawled away.
That's
I saw
right.
it, yeah.
And it was off the second rope this time for the pin.
It looked kind of shaky, and it's just so lame.
The match was fine, but it furthers the issues with the main eventers, which I like, because I like that title scene right now with those 3 guys. So I guess it was useful, but I thought, and I know like Dark State has to win in their debut match, obviously, because the baby faces can't coexist. But they didn't come across as like a super dominant group. They did get most
Unlike
of the match,
Shield's
probably.
debut, which was epic.
Right. But they didn't look bad either, but it's not like they're terrifying, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what you're going for. And I told you, like, the amount of time focused on telling us how predictable and
Unpredictable.
unpredictable Saquon Sugar's like, look at those eyes, and he's the blah 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 of the group, and he's the
I'd say that comes across better as Lucian Price, and I don't think you even have to say it much.
But I don't know, like, it has to mean something, I'm guessing. Is he's going to emerge as the leader?
No, it's because
he's their Jacob Fatu.
It's because Tony Storm does like it's 50s wrestler or whatever. He's doing an 80s wrestler and he's on cocaine all the time.
That
That's
could
what
be.
it is.
Let's hear his promos and then
Yeah.
we'll know for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the main event was fine. Dark State, I don't think it was a bad debut for them, but it's kind of like that was going to happen. It was good enough. Like, they're young dudes, right? So I got to sort of take that into account. But again, I was more intrigued by Swipe Right than them. Anything exciting on SmackDown as
No.
it just happened?
I don't think so.
Neither. I didn't hear anything as in between segments when we had time to look for things. But I think that's it then.
It is.
We are tapping out on episode 247. Is it the Mania preview next week for us then?
Oh, I believe so.
Right? So we'll do that and we'll try to get a better version of what's our thing called? Certainty score?
Yeah, yeah.
Because when we pick everything right, it doesn't matter.
It does not.
It makes it completely
That would
useless.
defeat the purpose of it.
But we will be back here next Saturday for episode 248. Appreciate you taking any time. Like, subscribe, follow, recommend. I don't know what all the options are on all the platforms you listen to us. Really do appreciate any attention we get. We'll see you back here next week. Until then, everybody, take care.